Weird.
We can't all make declarations of hatred at the same time. Hi, everybody.
There are dozens of us. Dozens!
你要中过这条心啊，我爱更尊重中。石油上。
Olsen, help me up onto his casket so I can dance on it.
I don't care.
But how did you ever find us?
Oh, easy. We just read the screenplay you left us.
Oh, God! Oh, God! Oh, God!
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
I'll help you.
Everything is sexist, everything is racist, everything is homophobic, and you have to point it all out.
Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Huh? Zappuccino.
All right, it is Thursday night in Tooney Town, so that can only mean one thing. It is time for everybody's favorite pop culture podcast of the week. It is time for Tooney Talk TV. Folks, my name is Marvin, and I am the Movie Monster, and I am thrilled to welcome you to another exciting, action-packed evening full of pop culture conversation. We're going to be talking about so much tonight. Hollywood has turned on Rachel Zegler and devoured her like rabid hyenas. Let's see. The Marvel has lost its ever-loving mind. We've got there's literally so much, guys. Studio executives being kicked out of their positions, which broke, just before we came on the air. So much to get to, and of course, another lesbian baby born to witches. So we got a lot to cover here tonight, guys. Oh, and some Harry Potter stuff. So you know who will be happy, but someone who's always happy to be here.
Lesbian witches
Kevin
don't need
Apollo.
no man.
Yeah, of course not. Absolutely not. Yeah, this story kind of like fell between the cracks, but it's no. I'm just glad that we could have another lesbian baby.
Rising to the top, push it to the edge, give it all you got, barely break a sweat, strong woman, strong.
It's about time.
Strong.
I love that. I just watched that episode last night. It is genius. It is like one of the most and it's a South Park episode that has aged like wine.
Yeah.
Like, because they foresaw where everything was going. And oh my gosh, it's so good. But guys, speaking of good, because I'm in a good mood tonight. Look at that. That was a nice one.
It was. Hi, everyone.
Well,
Yeah, that was. I was like,
you've been reaching out to me more during the week, so I'm like, I feel
blathering
like
on about Italian words.
Oh no, yeah, look, that is you speak in my language at that point. So.
If anyone would appreciate it.
Yeah. But guys, we have plenty of news going on tonight, and when some of it falls through the cracks, there's only one man that you can turn to for that. Martin Stone in the house.
Martin.
Almost didn't make it.
I know.
Yeah, I was worried about you for a second there.
Yeah, sick kids, computer restarting. It's been a night.
Well, if you have to bow out at any point, just let us know, and we won't hold you captive. But
thank you.
Well, I can only speak for me. There's somebody that I can't speak for. Nolan Thunder is here.
What's up, my hostages? I mean, friends. How are my friends doing?
Wonderful.
No, Nolan has secretly given us all a poison, and only he has the antidote. We have to continue to be his friends.
Very high degrees of him.
Yeah, guys, if any of us die...
Oh, I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
Oh, my goodness. All right. Well, Lorne is going to be a little bit late tonight if he makes it. I know he's had a very, very busy day over there in Lorne Land. So this is the team going forward. So we've got a ton to talk about. There was breaking news literally an hour before we went on the air, and I had to rush to make sure that we were able to cover it. But I tried to make a breaking news graphic in time. It just wasn't happening. So you know what? I'll just play this.
You know, Mean Gene, before the hands in the pen, you go, hack, hack, a doodle doo, mean a dog face to a gremlin or training.
I love it.
What was he going to say instead of gremlin? So like he was going to say gremlin.
The mouth moves faster than his brain works. It's hot cock-a-doo-doo-doo. So, guys, as you know, this is a show that is for you and funded by you. We get by on your super chats. Every episode of this pretty much gets demonetized, so that's why you don't see a lot of ads on replays of this show. So we rely on your generous super chats to keep the lights on around here. And as always, we read them in the beginning of the show. We read them in between stories, and we leave no super chat behind all night. We do break for $50 super chats or more. So if you send in $50 or more, we stop whatever we're doing to focus on what you have said. So let's take a look at what you guys have to say tonight. Ewan Cumia, member for 6 months, says it's almost time to give up on Marvel. I think Ewan Cumia, if you're still holding on to hope, then I think you're in the minority. I think Daredevil has shown us that most people have already given up on Marvel.
Or is no one watching that one too?
No,
I heard it wasn't that great. So
it's been boring as all hell. I haven't watched the last 2 episodes. I mean, 2.5 episodes. I started the episode from last week, and spoilers: White Tiger died at the end of the episode before that, and then like in the first 10 minutes of the new episode, we get this girl that we've never seen before. This ethnic teenage girl walks in, and she's like, "I'm White Tiger's niece. We gotta find who killed my uncle." And I was like, "All right, I'm done. I know exactly where this is going."
Wasn't White Tiger some dude who was on one? He was on One Life to Live.
Yes, he was. He was Antonio from One Life to Live,
See,
and also on The Rookie for a season.
He was really. I didn't know that.
The second I saw her, I was like, just nonstop. Like Marvel can't help itself. So Tyler Golosinski checking in for $20. Thank you so much, my friend. Because I forgot we were supposed to hate both Cynthia's and Ariana's character in Wicked. I forgot we were supposed to hate both Cynthia's and Ariana's characters in Wicked, or just one of them, because I couldn't believe I hated Ariana Glenda more than I did Cynthia. That's interesting. I hadn't heard many people. I'm hoping my wife didn't hear that, because she loves Ariana Grande as Glenda. But it's pretty much everything I bought her for Christmas was that related to that. Thankfully, she like what?
Did you get her a vinyl?
No, now I feel like a bad husband. Thank you, Nolan.
Oh, oops.
I'm glad that she likes Ariana Grande and not.
That would have been perfect for, and he chose poorly.
Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. Now Cynthia Erivo is the person I probably hate the most. I do still maintain Rachel Zegler probably would have been a better Elphaba than Cynthia Erivo. I think so. I don't find Cynthia Erivo's voice very appealing, but I don't know. John Williams checking in for this week and says that the person who will be happy will be
Glum gold, glum gold, glum gold, glum gold.
I agree.
Because I am Flint-Hard glum gold, and I always will be.
Yes, there are new Glom Gold clips.
We just need a compilation of every time he appeared in that cartoon, and eventually it will be on this stream throughout its entire existence.
I couldn't find the one that I really wanted, which was he did a thing where he did where Dewey goes it's always you, and he goes, I didn't always will be. Or he goes, how'd you know it was me? It's always you. I didn't always will be. Oh, I love him so much. Let's see. John Williams says, Marv, that episode was made with the trans athlete because debate had just gotten started. South Park doesn't predict, they comment. Well, yeah, but it has snowballed since then. And yeah. South Park hit the nail on the head with that one.
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman.
Oh, Macho Man Randy Savage. Liquid Fox for $5 Canadian says, let's kick this stream off with a laugh, shall we? How long does an owl live for? 6.5 books.
Oh,
not funny, Liquid Fox. I cried.
I did that one. I didn't cry. I didn't cry at that one.
Monster, literally.
I remember before that
Never
book came
complained to
out,
be otherwise.
she said that she cried when she wrote some scene where a character died and she didn't want to give it away. And I was like, it's the owl.
It's got to be, right?
She's
I mean,
not gonna cry when it's on a person.
I was more broken up at the end of the book when, people died.
Was I the one that was really sad when Mouthaway's bird died? Like that kind of struck a chord with me.
When he sends the bird through the thing and it comes out dead. It's not in the book.
Yeah. I thought that was.
It's not in the book because the book is so anchored in Harry's point of view that we never get to see things like that. Like the movie sometimes steps away from Harry's perspective to show other things happening. You never see that stuff in the book. It's always just kind of happening until you get the big Dumbledore exposition dump at the end, when he's just like, let me explain this entire book to you in one chapter.
So there I was.
That's pretty much how it is. Let's see. All bee booty bees and bacon with big bees for $2 says embrace the glom gold.
I defeated Scrooge McDuck! We were on the same team!
Do you see the icon?
That's more disturbing than my JD Vance one from a couple weeks ago.
What is it?
It's the new Sweeney and representative on, I assume, Sydney Sweeney's body.
Oh,
yes, that's Sydney.
Fantastic. Oh, that's amazing.
I have to be the representative for Sydney tonight since Lauren's not here. Don't worry.
XJ Cherokee Bear for $5 says Zegler's going to be like Britney Spears or Lindsay Lohan in the late 2000s. Oh my goodness!
How dare you? Like, Britney Spears has enough problems that you are going and saying she's like Rachel Zegler. Like, I'm offended on behalf of Britney Spears.
Leave Britney alone.
I was about to ask, we gonna get another video like that?
Leave Rachel. Yeah, I don't think anyone cares about Rachel Zegler enough to. That's the thing. People cared about Britney Spears. They cared about Lindsay Lohan. Nobody cares about Rachel Zegler. But Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan had done things that were beloved up to that point. We had Hit Me Baby One More Time. We had Herbie the Love Bug and Freaky Friday. So you could feel sad for their downfall. But I will also say, Britney Spears and Lindsay Lohan were on drugs, whereas Rachel Zegler is just high on the drug that is Rachel Zegler. So, there's a bit of a difference there. But I predict that in 3 weeks' time, we will never hear from her again. I've been bracing for it with that Park Place because she takes up so much of my work day. And I'm thinking, I was saying to Jonas the other day, I'm like, I'm going to miss her when she has no career. After this, because I feel like we're gonna get maybe another story tomorrow, and we'll get next week. We'll get the weekend drop off stories on how badly the movie dropped off, and then I think we're done.
And then after that, there'll be a That Park Place video with Sarah McLachlan music about how much we miss Rachel Zegler.
I might have to make it. But there is I do believe that the second her social media guru once Disney steps foot in that bill, I think she might start making headlines again. Once she has full control over her social media again, which we'll get into it all, guys.
This vessel.
Oh, hold on. I think I have that one on here somewhere. I rearranged all the clips so that I could have, better access to them, and now I don't know where anything is.
I am assuming direct control.
Yeah. Let's see. You and Kumia for $1.99 says strong woman, maybe Miss Macho Man. Yeah, I think it made everybody miss Macho Man. I miss him so much. He was the best.
I'm not here to talk about my transition.
Such a good episode. I watched the I started down a South Park rabbit hole because I watched the one where Cartman freezes himself for the Nintendo Wii and wakes up 500 years in the future with the sea otters. And the sea otter that's like, I will eat his entrails like a clam on my tummy. Liquid Fox for $5 Canadian says Cynthia and Ariana, spooky, scary skeletons, then shivers down your spine.
Love that song.
Oh man, at the end of the day, I wonder which one of them is gonna like cave in on themselves first. Probably Ariana, because she looks like that girl needs a sandwich in a bad way. Walter Tomaszewski, member for 1 month, says Disney has its tax write-off for the next fiscal year, so Zegler is now expendable. What movie do you think will be the next Disney hit tax write-off? You know what, Walter, you're probably not wrong. They might they'll put it on Disney Plus for a bit, but I could see them taking it down for a tax write-off. Because this movie has just made nothing. The box office was laughable, and the about face has been very, very telling.
It's way too public for them to take a tax write-off. Too many egos would get bruised in that one.
By the way, guys, Trish's camera is doing some weird stuff, so
it's always something, guys. It's always something. So
did you try the thing that we did last week?
Yeah, that's not the problem. It the whole thing is just off, and I don't know why. And so,
do you need to? Why don't you exit out and then come back in?
Well, I don't think it's the stream. I think it's my camera. So I'm going to stay on for now while I'm searching for everything, so I'm not completely gone. But if I vanish, you guys know why.
All right. Well, we'll miss your face. Tyler Galasinski for $19.99 says, after watching Snow White and watching Rachel's facial expressions, I was getting Dolores Umbridge, it's a lie clip after every statement that she made in the movie. Oh my gosh. Yes. No, every single time that she was like fearless, fair, brave, and true. We all just need to be kind.
This is a lie.
You know what? That actually is how she comes off in the movie, like Dolores Umbridge, where it's like forced sweetness and there's just pure, putrid evil behind it. I think you're onto something here, Tyler Galasinski. Huh. JPS for $2 says Ron's pigeon is a bad A in Lego Harry Potter.
Oh, it's true.
I never played Lego Harry Potter.
Oh, it's fun.
Those Lego games are great.
They are. They really are. I think if you have Steam, they're on sale now for a lot off. So
Forever Runner for $1.99 says it's Glom Golden time. Insert NPR theme. He does have his own DuckTales theme, Glom Tales, where he's like, life is like an evil scheme here on Glom Tales. It's good. You should look it up. Let's see. Tyler Galasinski for $9.99 says, and yes, while watching the movies, I did play the Wonder Woman theme music when Gal Gadot came on the screen. Sadly, there were only 10 people, so I only did it twice. Now, when you say the Wonder Woman theme music, do you mean the or do you mean the real Wonder Woman theme, which is Wonder Woman?
Well, that's Linda Carter's theme.
I know, but I've always wanted to see Gal Gadot come out to it. In your satin tights, fighting for our rights, and the old red, white, and blue.
Yeah, you see that's problematic.
When I first saw BVS in the theater, which was an experience in itself, I just so wanted her first experience to be like a beautiful orchestral version of the classic theme. Finally on the big screen, Spider-Man did that. Instead, I got Hans Zimmer again. For some reason, is getting a movie about him that's going to be playing in theaters here soon. And yeah, he makes the most lackluster soundtracks known to man. No offense to the man, but I can't stand his soundtracks. My God.
I didn't mind the new Wonder Woman theme, although it did seem a bit like Temu Immigrant Song.
Yes.
What? I can't unhear that, bro.
Oh, good Lord, Mark. That's a good one. No, Hans Zimmer, he had a very, I don't know. I don't mind his Batman stuff. Like, I liked his Batman music. And I actually like the Superman theme that he came up with. The it was like the one time where the scene where he flies is like, it's the only moment of joy in that movie.
Yeah.
when he smiles when he's flying, and like, yeah, see, Siren the cat agrees with me or disagrees. I don't know. She does kind of sound like one of the Snyder Bros when you diss Snyder. So
what I was always hoping for is that they would do another Henry Cavill Superman movie and transition from that militaristic Kryptonian drum beat and go into the John Williams. Dun, 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 dun.
They go together. They do. I found it on. It's on my workout mix through YouTube Music. I found this one where it's literally the two themes mashed together, and it works really well.
The day Cavill said he was coming back for a movie, YouTube got a deluge of mashups.
Yeah.
I'm still for it to bring him back and make him a part of the Justice Lords. It'd be genius.
Well, in 10 years, he can be Kingdom Come Superman.
Oh, did you see that AI image of Christopher Reeves as Kingdom Come Superman?
I did, yeah.
No.
I did not. BPE checking in for $20 with no message, aka we like to call it the BPE special. Trish, I know you're happy about that.
I love a BPE pulling a BPE. That's what I always like to say.
I know. BPE actually sent us like a super chat recently with a message in it.
Stop it.
It was
Friday.
On the one that you
breaking the fourth wall or something.
It was on the Friday one. On this, when we talked about, we did the Snow White review.
BPE.
Actually had a message in it. I was Nolan and I almost fell out of our chairs.
Yeah, I'm shocked over here.
Tyler Golosinski for $1.99 says Zack Snyder, Wonder Woman, not Linda Carter's. You rube. I'm kidding. But come on, like, make a hawk a dove, stop a war with love, make a liar tell the truth. Well, no, that's not the case for Zack Snyder, Wonder Woman. She doesn't stop wars with love. She stops them with murder. I will stop you from blowing up this museum by blowing up this museum. Clang. Liquefies a man in front of a group of fourth graders, and some little girl's like, "Can I be a murderer like you?" And she's like, "You can be anything you want, sweetheart."
That's a good message.
You can be a murderer too. Oh my goodness. All right, so we will get to more of your super chats as they come in between stories. But first, guys, we got to cover some breaking news, which I was really surprised by, but also really happy by. That is that Jennifer Salke, the J.J. Abrams disciple who has reigned as the evil queen of Amazon Studios, bringing us things like Rings of Power, is out of Amazon Studios. Rings of Power Fallout raises questions as Amazon eliminated the studio head position entirely. Wow. Now, that is not a thing that happens when you decide that you want to go produce more, which is what she said. She's like, at this stage in my career, I think I want to go produce. Lou Wasserman's ghost in private said to us that he was like, listen, a studio executive saying they want to go produce is the equivalent of a politician wanting to go spend more time with their family. It means they got fired.
Does this mean that we won't get a terrible James Bond movie now?
Oh no, we got Amy Pascal. There can only be one incompetent blonde in charge at the time.
Yeah.
She did such a good job, they decided to never have this position again.
Yep, they decided that the position was redundant because of the amazing job that she did. Jennifer Salke, the longtime head of Amazon MGM Studios, is stepping down from her role in a major executive shakeup that raises more questions than it answers. While Amazon is publicly framing the move as voluntary, the elimination of Salke's position and the redistribution of her duties suggest a quiet restructuring, one that may be tied to the costly and controversial failures under her leadership, most notably Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power. Now, that's
I love that picture.
I wanted it to make it look like they were reading the internal email.
See, I read it as a sitcom laugh moment.
Oh my goodness. The announcement came via an internal memo from Prime Video and Amazon MGM Studios chief Mike Hopkins, who wrote to the staff that Salke, quote, has decided that her next challenge and chapter will be on the production side. Her new production company, unnamed for now and probably forever because it doesn't exist, will remain connected to Amazon through an overall first look deal for both film and TV. However, Amazon made it clear that it will not be replacing Salke. Instead, the company is restructuring the studio under a flatter management model. Courtney Valenti, the head of film, and Vernon Sanders, the head of television, will report directly to Hopkins, while marketing chief Sue Kroll will continue in her role. So Jennifer Salke was so vital that they were able to redistribute her job to people that already worked there. Let that sink in for a second. So Hopkins said, we've decided to flatten our leadership structure a bit and not fill the head of studio role. In line with Amazon's recent work to streamline reporting lines and accelerate decision-making, we felt this was the best direction for our studio. Yeah, I'm sure you did. Statement comes at a time when Amazon Studios is still dealing with the ripple effects of its high-stakes billion-dollar investment in the Rings of Power, the most expensive television series ever produced. Originally touted as Amazon's flagship franchise to rival Game of Thrones, the series has experienced a dramatic decline in viewership and fan engagement. According to the Luminate TV and Film Report of 2024, Season 1 for The Rings of Power earned nearly 8 billion minutes watched, but by Season 2, that number dropped to 3 billion, a staggering 60% decline. Further, an April 2023 report from The Hollywood Reporter revealed that only 37% of those who started Season 1 actually finished it. Despite these warning signs, Salke consistently maintained that the show was a success, a.k.a. she gaslit the crap out of all of us. In a December 2023 interview, she claimed over 55 million people at this point have engaged since Season 2 launched. And if you look at the long-term trajectory, which is how this company looks at an asset like that, this is a long-term investment in that franchise. She then added, there's well over 150 million viewers watching and engaging with the show. So I feel really good. I think we all do. What does engaging mean?
YouTubers being like, this is doo-doo.
Maybe.
People tweeting.
That's your people tweeting that this is doo-doo.
Yeah. But many critics and fans accused Amazon of relying on vague and inflated engagement metrics to obscure a clear decline in interest. Ratings data from Nielsen and other independent trackers painted a stark contrast to Salke's upbeat messaging. Complicating matters. No, that is Soy Boy Elrond. Complicating matters further, Salke's tenure also drew scrutiny from major industry figures. During Amazon's acquisition of MGM in 2021, longtime James Bond producer Barbara Broccoli reportedly bristled at Salke's involvement in discussions about the future of the franchise. Though she never named Salke directly, Broccoli gave a pointed quote to The Guardian. We're not going to make a Bond film unless we're going to be very proud of it. We're going to be we're going to make it when it's ready. I'd say that Bond is not a content brand. It's a cinematic experience. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to be rushed into anything by people who are just trying to fill slots on a platform. Now, if that's not directed at Salke, I don't know who it's directed at. Rumors swirled also for weeks that Broccoli was deeply offended when Salke behind the scenes referred to Bond as content. And some attribute this quote to that incident. While Salke was never named, the timing and context made it clear Broccoli was pushing back against studio executives. Despite the controversy, Salke's supporters point to recent hits like Reacher, Fallout, Mr. and Mrs. Smith as evidence of her success. In the email, Hopkins praised her leadership and highlighted a strong slate of upcoming releases. Her vision, creativity, and industry relationships were and are so apparent. The Rings of Power, Fallout, Reacher, Saltburn, and others speak to the hits under her leadership that have stirred cultural conversations and delivered incredible storytelling. That's why we fired her. Still, with Rings of Power facing backlash from Tolkien fans for its deviations from the source material, DEI-heavy character arcs, and inconsistent tone, many observers see Salke's departure as a delayed response to the underwhelming results of Amazon's billion-dollar gamble. Or blunder. as I like to call it sometimes. Guys, she is gone, baby, gone. Is the universe healing? What do we think?
They're just some wounds that won't close.
Yeah. We will miss her.
I don't know what difference this really makes because the structure that put her in place is still in place.
Right. Right, but she was the one calling a lot of the major decisions. She's the one that put the two J.J. Abrams disciples as the showrunners for Rings of Power because she herself is a J.J. Abrams disciple. So she apparently went to J.J. to see if he wanted to run it, and he was like, no, but take these two talentless hacks who have done nothing. And she was like, yes, sir.
Conan, right?
Yeah, I think she's the one who sacked Conan and derailed Red Sonja.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Well, hey, let's look at it this way. You know, she has experience, you know, leading a studio, which probably means she's the perfect candidate to replace Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm. You know,
oh gosh, that would be
a lot of possibilities here.
You know, also Kathleen Kennedy said she was going to go into producing as well when she leaves Lucasfilm. So I guess that is kind of like the you know, the farm that you send the dog to.
So let's say they shuffle the cards here and Salky ends up over at Lucasfilm. Now we get blonde protagonists instead of brunettes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's all, it's, you know, variation is the spice of life. But guys, you know, Jennifer Salke is gone, not from our hearts, but from our viewing habits. I will always remember all of the wonderful quotes that she provided for articles for That Park Place, with her mindless jabbering and her incessant insistence that the Rings of Power was somehow a success, despite no one watching it and them paying $1 billion for it.
You want to know why your Amazon Prime is so expensive now? Miss Salke.
Yeah. Blame Jennifer Salke. I think that when Jeff Bezos tweeted out like, hey, who should be the next Bond? And everyone was like, up yours. He was like, all right, something's got to happen here. Like, that was literally what happened.
Your voice kind of reminded me a little bit of Macho Man Randy Savage when you did that for some reason. Now I got that image of him as James Bond. Oh, God.
That would have been a great Bond.
I can't tell you how free I feel now that I've started identifying as a woman.
Oh, my goodness. Let's... All right, guys. And now here's another one. Here's another great story for us. YouTube, the platform that we are currently on, has surpassed Disney in TV viewing in a massive win for the new media. Legacy media left reeling as entertainment landscape shifts. So basically what happens in this story, in a stunning turn that should have traditional media execs hitting the panic button, YouTube has officially claimed the top spot in total TV viewing share, surpassing even the once mighty Disney. According to Nielsen's latest distributor gauge report, YouTube racked up a record 11.6% of all US TV viewership in February, marking just the second time the platform has done so since the report's inception. That 11.6 figure has been noted in previous breakdowns, but this latest data directly ranks distributors, and YouTube came out ahead of every other entertainment conglomerate. In second place is none other than the Walt Disney Company, which saw a notable drop from its January numbers after losing viewership boosts from the NFL playoffs and college football. And the hits keep coming for Disney. The Fox Corporation, not to be confused with the Disney-owned 20th Century Fox, we're talking about the Murdoch-controlled Fox, bolstered by Super Bowl viewership and a surge on its free streaming platform Tubi, jumped to third place, edging out Netflix. Fox News Channel alone drove 37% of the company's total viewing share, with a 3% increase in February coinciding with heightened political coverage and Trump-related developments. So there you guys go. YouTube surpassing Disney, Fox, Netflix, Paramount, NBC, Warner Brothers, Amazon, the Roku channels, you know, and all the other ones, Hallmark, AMC, Scripps, Weigel, A&E. I mean, this is big. This is a
you
big
hear that, Disney?
media.
Second. You guys are second to the almighty Tooney Talk TV. You hear that?
You said second. I thought you said suck it. And I was like, whoa!
So this story, I know that this is specifically television watching, like
the
box in the living room, not
yes,
streaming.
This this does not count people watching on their phones. It's not cable. I believe it's through because Fox's numbers were bolstered by Tubi, so this does include streaming.
Right.
So YouTube beat all of Disney's TV stuff, which means FX, which means ABC, which means the Disney channels, plus Disney Plus. And Fox was bolstered by its TV channels, its network, and Fox News and Tubi.
Now this tracks in my house because my kids will watch YouTube, like they'll watch short after short after short after long form 2-hour conversation on YouTube,
right?
And won't turn on scripted television unless it's something old.
Oh, I mean, we pretty much bank on the fact that people like watching YouTube as a business model around here.
Right.
So but I mean, the new media, that's what we've been calling it. The new media is peer media. It's people are getting their news from peers instead of corporations because they don't want the corporate spin. They don't trust the corporate spin. They don't trust the corporations. They don't trust Disney. They don't trust Fox. They don't trust Warner Brothers. And so they're turning to everyday Joes and Janes who now have more ability than ever to get what they know out there. And I think that's beautiful. That's why channels like like Nerdrotic have sprung up. Why channels like this have sprung up. Everything. We are seeing a huge tonal shift in the entire entertainment world, and I think that is something that is exciting, especially being that we're in it. Lorne is
that's
here.
Exciting.
Hey, how's everybody?
Good.
Good.
You're here.
Trish is on her way back. She's having some technical issues. But
again?
Yes, I know.
Holy cow.
Lauren, what's your take on the new media kind of eclipsing Disney, eclipsing Fox, eclipsing all of these other, standard entertainment legacy media companies?
Well, give me a little more context because I understand what you're saying, but
right. So to catch you up, YouTube has officially claimed the top spot in total TV viewing share, surpassing even Disney, according to Nielsen's latest distributor gauge report. YouTube racked up a record 11.6% of all U.S. TV viewership in February, which was the latest data directly ranks distributors. YouTube came out way ahead of every other entertainment conglomerate. So you can see here, YouTube got 11.6%. Disney is next in line with 10%. I believe that is like all of their networks plus Disney Plus. Fox with 8.3, and now that's Murdoch-controlled Fox, not 20th Century. Netflix has 8.2, Paramount 8.2, NBC Universal 8.1, and so on and so forth down the line. So the new media...
I'm actually a little more surprised about some of those other numbers than I am about YouTube. YouTube doesn't surprise me at all, but I kind of figured that Netflix would be right behind.
Well, Lauren, would it surprise you with the added context that this is specifically on televisions, not streaming generally?
Oh, okay. Well, that might.
So so it doesn't take into account like your phone, your iPad or whatever. Like it's just on the TV.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, the YouTube thing doesn't surprise me at all, especially because that's all the younger generation watches.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when it comes to me, I have never had cable. I've been a streaming guy from way back, just because I didn't want to pay for a cable plan. I never had an interest in doing so. And I had a big enough media library that I didn't really need to pay to watch something that somebody else was putting on and pay for a bunch of stuff I didn't want. But the younger generation, the idea of something like cable, I think, is probably laughable to them. And there's no need. I mean, back in the day, my parents had like a C-band satellite dish, so I grew up with satellite TV. Wow. That's also kind of laughable in today's generation. So this is just the logical step that you would expect things to go. Technology advances. This is an on-demand service that gives you what you want when you want it. What's not to like?
Yeah.
Well, I remember the first time I was at somebody's house and they had a giant dish, and they changed the channel, and I heard the dish. I heard whirring outside and looked outside, and the dish was moving, and they put it on like Japanese live television. Blew my mind as like a 6-year-old.
Yeah, that's the same solution that we had, and it was like at the time it was like living in the future, because it's the thing that I remember that I loved the most about it was that I got to watch Star Trek: The Next Generation episodes a week ahead of time because we would see like the closed circuit feeds, and so I got a week-long jump ahead of everybody else.
That is cool.
We're all reflecting, on kind of our personal experiences, with like satellite, cable, and how streaming is impacting our lives now. But I think the most impressive thing about this whole feed here is that you also have to take into account, when we're talking TV here, that should theoretically include, Wild Wing places, that are airing sports on the TV networks, doctors' offices that probably have like the news or something playing constantly. It's showing how much of stuff is shifting, because nowadays we have like 24/7 live streams that are streaming music, animal nature stuff, and as we're seeing here, the news. Like, there's a reason this shift is happening, and we're finally seeing the results of it. It's something to be proud of.
And a lot of those places are streaming curated cutesy clips, curated internet clips being put together at Applebee's and your doctor's office and places like that.
Yeah,
or the gas station pump.
I've even noticed like gyms, some attractions where they used to have satellite TV, now they're just streaming off of a Roku.
Yeah,
that's really interesting. Yeah, I think that a lot of it, though, for people that aren't Gen Zs or younger, is the matter of trust. They feel lied to by corporate outlets, corporate shills. They know that the media is controlled by by these corporate interests, and they just want to hear what's going on without the spin.
What was interesting about this whole thing is when you looked at the data, it shows that older adults going into seniors, it's the same percentage of adults as young kids are watching YouTube from their living room. So it's a cross-generational thing. It's everybody is essentially just abandoned old media. You probably only have it now, and probably mostly folks on our age demo, just out of habit. If you have kids and you need access to something like the Disney Channel.
My parents have cable still, and I'm just like, why do you have this? Like, you don't actually watch it, you just stream everything. They have it. I'm pretty sure they still pay all that money for cable just because my mother and grandmother watch All My Children, or whatever soap opera is on in the afternoon that they watch.
Oh, they were General Hospital. Tell her to share. That was my jam.
No, it might be General Hospital, or I don't know. I've been terrible. I stayed away from soap operas since when I was a little kid. There was a soap opera on, and there was some lady in it that was possessed by the devil in a hospital gown, and she was just she was whooping this dude's butt, and I remember like it scared the bejeebers out of me.
That was probably Marlena.
Yeah, well, I'll take your word for it. But my mother and grandmother swear by it. They never miss an episode. So yeah, I think it's a lot of habit. Like, the only reason I have cable is because it literally comes with the internet where I live. It's like, okay, you have to have this. And I'm like, well, I don't want this. And they're like, okay, well, you still have to have it. I'm like, well, I'm not going to watch it. At first I was using it to record wrestling, and now I don't have to do that anymore either because wrestling is just streaming now. So, well, sometimes. Days of Our Lives. That's what it is. That they probably watch. Yeah. All right, so I think we got a couple more super chats come in, so let's take a look at those real quick before we move on to our next story, while I also try to give Trish a little bit more time to get back, because I actually really want her take on this next thing that we're going to be talking about. Liquid Fox for $5 Canadian. You know what? We'll save that one for when Trish is here, but he says, Trish, I never read the Harry Potter books and therefore ignorant, and as someone who witnessed the death of Dinobot, I apologize. Oh, that was rough.
Override. It's a great episode.
We won't talk. We'll talk about it when Trish gets back, so we can talk about the Harry Potter stuff. But Nolan, make sure I don't forget that. That's your job for tonight.
Talking about Dinobot.
Well, that there was a super chat specifically for Trish. So guys, if it doesn't get read,
I see. Oh, it was no one's fault. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Well then, problem solved.
She's having some tech issues behind the scenes, so we're not quite sure if she's coming back yet or not. But if she does, I'll remind you.
All right, cool. Tyler Galsinski for $20, and the Dobby voice says, Dobby is glad he was able to defend his gold, so Harry Potter Dobby means John Moxley doesn't punish Dobby with that wooden paddles with spikes. No, not that, Harry. I saw what happened to your back. Yeah. John Moxley sucks. Tyler Galsinski for $4.99 says, Lauren is here. Let the Sydney Sweeney fan casting begin.
I'm in favor.
Galactus. You know what? I was thinking the other day, because I was playing Marvel Rivals. I was like, you know what? I would have accepted Galacta before I accepted the Shalabal Silver Surfer.
That would have been some big. Wait, never mind. Can't say it on YouTube.
I would have gone for Galacta before Shalabal because I love Norrin Rad. Like, he's one of Silver Surfer. There was a period of time where the Silver Surfer was my favorite comic book character. So it burns me. But I will say she wasn't one of the 97 people that they announced for Avengers Doomsday over 5.5 hours, which we'll get to in a minute. And then Tyler Galsinski says, Dobby is sad Mistress Trish is not here. Curse that evil camera. Waves wand threateningly.
I'll be right back, guys.
Okay, Lord. Regina Sharp for $10 says, sorry I'm late, Marvin. I won't bother with
Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold!
Oh, dang it. Anyway, I confirmed Jack Ryder is the creeper in Arkham, apparently. He just doesn't creep. That's
Marv, do you realize that in his Glom Gold, it's not just the trademark, it has the copyright symbol and the registered trademark. Like, he's got all three covered.
Yeah.
Because I'm Flintheart Glom Gold, and I always will be!
Oh, by the way, the other Glom Gold clip that I pulled for this week.
Is this some kind of game? Answer me, baby!
I just love answer me, baby.
Were Trish here, I would have had a Radiohead joke for the creeper thing.
And we're nothing without her, aren't we?
I know, right?
It's like that sitcom episode where, like, it's like that sitcom episode where the one friend leaves and you realize like everything they've done for you and you miss them, and then when they come back you appreciate them more.
She's the glue.
And Forever Runner for $1.99 says, where's Trish? Did Martin diss Supernatural again? You diss Supernatural?
I have never dissed Supernatural. I just said it should have ended after 5 seasons because that was the initial story arc.
Oh, that's a diss. That's a diss right there.
No,
and then I got Last of Us.
That is a conversation all Supernaturals fans have. That's the great debate. It was supposed to end at 5. It should have stopped. And then,
oh boy.
And then we get to Dick Roman, and everybody wishes it stopped at 5. But then we get past it.
But by the way, okay, I don't want Galacta in a movie, but I was just saying, if you had to gender swap one of them, I would have accepted that, but I still would have been ticked. But I would have accepted that before I accepted getting rid of Norrin Rad, because Galactus doesn't really have a personality. He's just a force of nature. Like he's very stoic. I don't know. There's not really much there. I feel like with Silver Surfer, it's a completely different character.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but isn't Galactus supposed to be like the most powerful thing in the universe? I wouldn't put it past Feige to make that a woman. Like,
the Living Tribunal is the most powerful thing in the universe, right, Kev?
Yes. Technically, the Living Tribunal is the direct representative of God.
Yeah.
Yeah, in Marvel, there are beings that create, there are beings that destroy. Galactus is one of the beings that destroys. And if he didn't consume planets, things wouldn't be balanced. That's how Marvel works.
Fascinating.
It's kind of like the Dragon Ball concept in Super, where you have the Supreme Kai, who is, like for life, and the God of Destruction, who destroys. And it's like the concept of like the forest cleanses, like a lightning bolt hits the forest, a fire starts, it prunes back the forest naturally.
Fascinating. Yeah, no, I like that.
And that's why, like, in the natural parks, if a fire starts naturally in the forest, they don't put it out. They just make sure it doesn't spread to like where people are.
I love whenever we have random nature fun facts. It's a throwback to when we were talking about the hippos on that membership stream once. I'm like, I'm for this.
That was fun. Nolan and I just watched like hippos like destroying people for like 20 minutes on members only stream one time. Oh my goodness.
They're vicious and they're vegetarians, and yet they want us dead. They're amazing.
They don't kill for food, folks. They kill for the hunt. They kill for the hunt. It reminds us of the hunt. I knew you would get. I knew you would get that one. All right, let's see. All right, so I was trying to kill time for Lauren to get back, but let's move into our next story because
I believe Lauren is spending his time trying to help Trish get back on.
Is he?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to do tech support. I'm listening, guys, but this is kind of what I do for a job, so I'm trying to see if I can figure out what's causing her technical issues.
You know what? I'm going to move to a different story than the one I was going to do then, so that we can have both, hopefully you and Trish, for whatever's going on.
The IT guy.
Yeah. So let's rip CNN a new one, shall we?
Ooh.
Anyone for that?
Sure.
So we're stepping into the gaming world a bit for this. CNN blamed Gamergate for the state of the online modern world in wild historical rewrite propaganda hit piece against gamers. This was wild. I could not believe what I saw when I saw this. I was like, there's no way this is what I think it is when I clicked on that article, and I was like, oh my gosh, it is. It's what I think it is.
Did Jack Thompson become a writer for CNN all of a sudden?
So they say CNN wants you to believe that a 2014 online movement over video game journalism is responsible for virtually every controversy of the last decade. In its latest attempt to revise history, CNN frames Gamergate not as a call for transparency in media, but as the spark that supposedly ignited a digital wildfire engulfing everything from social platforms to political movements. And you see what they say here in this quote that I pulled. Over the years, the Gamergate playbook will be replicated conspiracy theories such as Pizzagate, QAnon, and well as the insurrection at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Like, come on, Gamergate, really? Because some Kotaku dude was stupping a game developer. That led to the destruction of modern politics.
So in CNN's opinion, because some second-rate developer was banging judges and reporters in the gaming circles.
Yeah.
The entirety of the bureaucratic state is being destroyed by Doge.
Yes.
Some cheated on her boyfriend for clout, and now the bureaucratic state is being dismantled.
Oh, because Gamergate.
Like, did they at least find some scathing rebuke of Diablo somewhere? So that we can tie this back to Elon.
So here's what there's some of you in the chat probably that are wondering what Gamergate actually was. So we'll explain it very quickly. Gamergate began in August 2014 when questions arose about ethics in video game journalism, specifically whether personal relationships between game developers and journalists were influencing coverage. They were. The catalyst was a blog post by a disgruntled ex-boyfriend of developer Zoe Quinn, which alleged that an inappropriate relationship with a Kotaku writer named Nathan Grayson was going on. Although Grayson never reviewed her game, the incident sparked widespread concern about transparency in games media. The phrase Gamergate quickly then became a catch-all term. For some, it was about holding media accountable. For others, it became an excuse to condemn an entire gaming subculture. As online forums debated ethics and coverage bias, corporate outlets shifted focus away from the original concerns and portrayed the movement as a blanket campaign of harassment, ignoring the many participants who condemn bad behavior while supporting the core message. So, in other words, they're still doing it because this is what CNN just did. They're still using Gamergate to justify everything that has happened in the last 10 years.
Well, CNN also lets Tapper pretend to be an actual newsman instead of a hack. So,
so Gamergate began as a dispute over ethics in gaming journalism. Whether you agreed with the participants or not, the conversation stemmed from valid questions. Can media outlets fairly cover games when their reporters are personally connected to developers? They can't. The question about transparency and disclosure was quickly drowned out by media outlets eager to characterize the movement as something else entirely. CNN parrots the idea that Gamergate was never about ethics, but if that were true, why did major gaming sites change their conflict of interest policies in direct response to the backlash? Why did so many independent developers, streamers, and fans echo the call for fair coverage? These are inconvenient truths that CNN leaves out. Now, we had Kotaku changed their what writers were barred from covering developers with whom they had personal relationships. Polygon did the same thing. IGN, Destructoid, The Escapist, they all revised their code of conduct for journalists after Gamergate. So it did have an effect. But then there was also a number of, women and minorities who supported Gamergate, and CNN does not want to hear about that. So they acknowledge the hashtag #NotYourShield movement, which sprung up around Gamergate, which was minority and, it was a social campaign led by women and minorities who supported Gamergate and didn't like that they were being used as a shield by these journalists. CNN calls Not Your Shield a deceptive effort, ignoring the reality that many non-white, non-male gamers had grown tired of media pundits speaking on their behalf. That's not fiction, it's documented. But acknowledging it would break their apparent narrative and that the movement was nothing more than aggrieved males lashing out. CNN also tries to link Gamergate to everything from meme culture to national political controversies and disruptive online communities. In doing so, it paints a picture of conspiracy-level coordination without ever proving causality. The implication here seems to be that if you ever posted on a message board, criticized a game reviewer, or questioned a trending opinion, you are somehow part of a global manipulation campaign. In other words, not journalism, a smear strategy. Let's not also forget that the internet campaigns involving hashtags, anonymous coordination, and callouts are not unique to any one group. Online activists across the spectrum have used these tools for years. CNN celebrates these tactics when used for causes it supports, but when Gamergate employed them to demand accountability from the powerful media outlets, it became a threat to democracy. So, Kevin Apollo, how ridiculous was this?
Oh, this is one of the darn stupidest things I've ever heard. Yeah, it's just funny that this came up again for no reason. CNN is desperate. They're a laughing stock. Their favorite person is back in power. The cultural mood has very much so shifted. People aren't afraid to openly discuss how these outlets are not credible and no one wants to hear from them anymore. They are seeking alternatives. I can't believe we're talking about Gamergate all these years later. I'm also sick and tired of the word gate being thrown at the end of everything. It's really annoying. But
there have been many gates over the years. Since Watergate, the first gate. But yeah, man, it is 2025. This was 2020. This was 2014. 11 years ago.
It's kind of funny. One of our favorite people wrote an unhinged blog about this topic, making it a Gamergate's fault that a certain someone got reelected again before she stepped down.
Before she stepped down and then sued a streamer and admitted that she was fired.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Probably all know who it is. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole though, because I don't need that in my life.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Exactly. Martin Stone, did you follow Gamergate when it was a thing?
I did not avidly because 2014 I had newborn baby and all that sort of stuff, so I wasn't really gaming anymore. But I do remember the original tweet that gave it its name, because I was following Adam Baldwin at the time. So yeah, I watched it develop, and it was the first time I ever became aware of swatting, because that started happening back and forth. During
swatting?
Yeah.
That
was kind of when it started to go into the public zeitgeist.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that term.
That's where people send the police, SWAT teams out to harass and endanger the lives of other people.
What?
So they'll call in fake threats and domestic violence situations and things like that, and have have the police storm people's houses.
A lot of times during a stream too, so it's really awkward and embarrassing.
I personally think that should be prosecuted as attempted murder.
Absolutely. Seriously, because you never know. You never know. A wrong word or a wrong move, and you're considered a threat. That is way too far. That's unbelievable. Yeah. But my God, I never heard of that before.
Well, I'm sorry to bring that into your life.
Yeah, people are
because
like,
you have a good soul.
People are like, Marv, why aren't you more open about your personal life? Well, here you go.
You're going to be swatted by Rachel Zegler.
Yeah. Kevin Apollo doesn't care because he could take down anybody that tries to step to him.
I mean, listen, when you have been doxxed by the DNC, there's really nothing left. I got nothing.
You know who I'd love to ask about this question?
Who's that Pokemon?
It's a hangry table.
Hangry.
Hello. Okay, we're talking about Pokemon and DNC and somebody by the name of Docs, I think.
We're talking about the fact that CNN blamed Gamergate for pretty much every bad political thing or every political movement that has risen up online in the last 10 years. It's all because of Gamergate.
But this is good though, right? Because Gamergate, they always say that they're the ones who kicked off everything that led to Trump's election in 2025. So it's an acknowledgement.
Whether you consider that good or bad is a matter of personal preference, which is a thing that we don't discuss on this show.
Of course not. My apologies.
But it is it's just it started off the gaming culture war, which is still raging today. We just had Gamergate 2, with Sweet Baby Inc. stuff.
And Ubisoft has now been the next victim. They just went under. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, so what they did was they started a new subsidiary, which is going to house some of their bigger IPs. It's valued at about $4 billion, with a $1 billion investment from Tencent. So the Chinese own a quarter of this thing,
and presumably have creative control over stuff now, so that they don't include like how to make your own bubble tea in the Edo period of Japan.
Right. Well, at the end of the day, man, it's like they couldn't do much worse than the Gamont family, right?
Well, I was going to say, if the Chinese have taken control of it from the French, then at least it will be less communist.
That is... The Chinese would be less communist? Oh, my goodness.
It's funny because it's true.
It is. But this is what China has been doing though. They get involved in these industries and basically like get a foothold and then kind of take them over. We're seeing it with movies right now. Disney pandered to China relentlessly for years, ignoring gross human rights violations to bow before the throne of President Pooh Bear, and now he's making his own movies. And now, like, when Disney releases something in China, they see it as like national pride to not go see it. It's patriotic to go see the Chinese movie over the American movie now, which is why the Captain America Must Die hashtag movement happened a couple weeks ago in China. So that was a great investment, huh? But
they're not the only ones who've been burned about investing in China.
That's probably true. So yeah, Gamergate continues to be. I just like, why would CNN bring up Gamergate now?
That is a great question, because there's anytime you see something in the media, somebody paid for it to be there.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, this thing stinks of just super desperation. They just needed anything to talk about that wasn't, going to. It's just, I don't know if anybody's watched CNN lately, but they are hurting.
Well, no, nobody is watching CNN. Nobody's watching CNN. That's why CNN's in trouble. Photon Empress says CNN is just now learning about Gamergate. That's why.
You know what? That's I think that's Occam's razor, right? Like, the simplest explanation is probably true.
I just heard about this thing called Gamergate. Have you guys heard about this? It's like when Bob Iger was like, apparently the kids today like video games.
Yeah.
Everybody, we need to avoid the toxic gamers. Prepare yourself. Protect your kids.
They're sitting in the room. How is this happening? Why is he back? Gamergate.
It's all Gamergate's fault.
Is Nixon involved somehow?
That's right. This all goes back to Nixon.
Nixon kicked off Gamergate. You didn't know? He introduced that Kotaku writer to that developer.
That's right. Only Nixon could go to Kotaku.
Gosh, we have seen from Gamergate a massive shift in the gaming industry, because now you're seeing, places like Ubisoft, places like Kotaku, they're all going out of business because they have been trapped in this web of virtue signaling nonsense that has taken over the gaming world. And the problem is the audience doesn't want it, and the audience that they want don't exist in enough volume to sustain it. I think it's a larger scale version of what's happening in the movie industry, because these games, every single one of them is like, $200+ million, and they all bomb. What was that, Angry?
I was just going to say, according to the latest polls up here, they should move to Canada, because I think that's where the audience is, at least until we become the 51st state. That is
right. Welcome aboard, brother.
Thank you.
Just so you know, new citizens give their U.S. citizen friends gifts on Thanksgiving.
Oh, really?
It is one of our fondest traditions.
Thanksgiving is in October, right?
Yeah, they typically no, it's in November. You're gonna have to get in on that. You have to get in on actual Thanksgiving, and gifts are typically more than $50, and American dollars, by the way. None of that nonsense money you all have up there with the
darn it. I had a budget of $5 ready to go.
Well, yeah, a coin.
Yeah. $50 Canadian is about $5 American these days. So.
Yeah, right. All right. So moving along, I'm skipping around now from I had everything in like a nice order, but I want to get Lauren and Trish back before we can talk about things like the Agatha thing. You know what? We could go to this. It's Star Wars related, so Trish won't mind that we're doing it, but I mean, it's not so Star Wars related that Lauren would miss out on it. It's a really weird story, guys.
To be fair, I am still listening. I'm just still doing tech support, so I can try and do both.
If you want to weigh in, please feel free to weigh in, my friend. A new documentary is raising thousands of dollars to memorialize Disney's Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, aka the biggest failure Disney's ever had. This thing was open for a year. Just when you thought that Disney's Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser was dead and buried, it's crawling back from the wreckage. Jay over at Drunk 3PO, a trusted voice on all things Disney, recently covered the announcement of a fan-funded documentary attempting to immortalize the final days of the Star Cruiser. Titled Halcyon Days, The Final Voyages of Disney's Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser, the documentary has raised over $18,000 via Kickstarter, aiming to glorify what can only be described as one of Disney's most expensive missteps in recent memory. Now, as you guys know, this was one of the biggest blunders Disney has ever done. Jay doesn't mince words in the video, his video review of the documentary's trailer. Many of the diehard superfans featured in the teaser trailer weren't even hardcore Star Wars fans. Instead, they became fixated on the Star Cruiser as a 2-day escape from reality, paying thousands of dollars over and over again to role-play a fantasy character and escape the world around them. And while there's nothing wrong with adults finding hobbies or avenues to unwind, Jay questions why this very narrow, costly form of escapism needs to be celebrated, especially when it failed so spectacularly. Now, why did the Star Cruiser fail? First of all, outrageous price point. $4,800 to $6,000 for 2 nights per person. It was priced like a luxury cruise or 5-star resort, but delivered far less. There was no pool, no spa, just a tiny windowless cabin and a rigid scripted itinerary. For many, it felt like paying thousands to participate in a forced LARP session rather than enjoying a relaxing vacation. It was also a niche within a niche. Disney aimed this at wealthy, cosplay-committed Star Wars fans, but that's a microscopic demographic. The average family visiting Disney World simply wasn't going to shell out $5,000 for an awkward, confined roleplay exercise, especially when better options existed elsewhere in the parks. Guests also couldn't come and go as they pleased. Everything was structured. Like if you were there and it was like midnight and you were like, man, I'm hungry. Like maybe I can Uber Eats some McDonald's to my room. You can't do that because you're in space. Star Cruiser dominated two entire days of a Disney vacation. That's time that could be spent exploring the 4 theme parks and countless restaurants. Want to casually explore Hollywood studios? Too bad. You're locked in the Star Cruiser storyline. For introverts, families, or casual Star Wars fans, this setup felt like homework, not vacation. And of course, once you've done the storyline, there's no reason to return. You've seen it, you lived it, you paid thousands for it. Unlike Disney's traditional parks, which offer fresh experiences year after year, the Star Cruiser had a short shelf line by design. It also lacked value. Guests compared the stay to a cheap cruise minus the ocean. Basic accommodations, screens instead of windows, and minimal luxury features meant customers felt ripped off and word spread fast. And of course, let's not forget Disney's recent run of alienating fans, rising prices, and delivering subpar content. I think one of the Jenny Nicholson did that 4.5-hour documentary on how stupid it was. And then, of course, the biggest problem. It was anchored in the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Now, one of the greatest weaknesses of the Star Cruiser and Galaxy's Edge itself is that it's slavishly anchored in a very specific time period within the Star Wars sequel trilogy timeline. That's a period in which Darth Vader, Han Solo, and Luke Skywalker are all canonically dead and can't appear in any way. While some Star Wars superfans might have scrimped and saved for a luxury premium experience with characters they loved, too few were willing to pony up $6,000 for a fake cruise with Rey. I mean, is there any so this is it, Halcyon Days. I wanted to watch a little bit of this trailer that they have. We'll have to stop it occasionally, but you guys just need to see this.
I'm Carrie Copeland from Louisville, Kentucky. I teach senior English. I live a pretty normal life. Oh, Dad, I love you so much. I'm sorry I'm not there. All right, happy 80th birthday. I'm missing my day, but priorities. I got to be on the Star Cruiser right now.
What?
Oh my God.
I thought this was the ad before the video, not the actual video.
So wait. Before you go any further into this, is this thing celebrating the Star Cruiser or mocking it? Because I really can't tell where we're going here.
No, it's made by the people who are. I see Lauren's back on camera. Lauren, are you back?
Yeah, my computer actually took a dump, which kind of surprised me.
You caught it from Trish.
No, I don't think so. It's just kind of a weird thing. I'm still working, trying to figure out what's going on here, but I think we're making progress. Just
awesome.
Not quite fixed yet. So just bear with me.
Do you want to weigh in on the Star Cruiser real fast, Lauren? Or
yeah, it sucked.
Oh, fantastic.
Man of few words.
It stinks.
Lord Connor, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Back to this back to this English teacher.
Hello there. I would like to congratulate you on booking your voyage through the galaxy. You will be boarding.
This sounds terrible already.
It also looks like a lesser Doctor Who episode.
No,
yes.
I was gonna say
it really does.
This is giving me Red Dwarf vibes.
No, Red Dwarf was cheeky and fun.
Okay.
You couldn't even get the video to fill up the whole screen. If you're gonna do an old analog effect, that's not how you do it.
Right.
The Halcyon.
Star Wars Galactic Star Cruiser is.
See, now that looks cool.
Yeah.
That looks neat. I wouldn't pay $6,000 to walk through it, but
a first of its kind vacation experience where you.
That's the room you're paying $6,000 for.
Oh yeah.
I think that's actually the Han and Leia suite.
Yeah, actually, that's probably the bigger ones, right?
That's where Baby Kylo was made.
Photon Empress, can you confirm that is one of the larger? Because Photon Empress has done this. She said, I did the Star Cruiser and did one of the 2-bedroom suites. I did legit enjoy it, but once I didn't see any point to return. Wealthy cosplay committed Star Wars fans. That's me. Yeah. Photon Empress is the entire demographic for this experience.
I just hope she didn't miss her dad's 80th birthday as well.
Yeah, please tell me you did not miss any but when your father is turning 80 years old, how do you know it's not his last birthday on this planet? How do you miss that? Ugh. She said this doesn't look like the suite, but hard to tell by just the bed. Okay.
You get to spend 2 days and 2 nights living out your very own Star Wars story.
The Galactic Star Cruiser was a branded Star Wars experience on Disney property that was a 2-day immersive theatrical live game-playing theater event. On its surface level, that's what it was.
Is this guy a guest or is this guy like a community theater actor who liked to do this?
I think he was probably one of the employee actors.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Yeah.
It said actor, so.
I became obsessed with the Star Cruiser, but I shouldn't have gotten obsessed. I'm not a Star Wars super fan. So I want to look under the hood of this thing and I want to know how, why, what does it mean about who we are? What's up with the Star Cruiser?
Whoa.
Go ahead.
I can't believe it. They actually were able to get a new Star Wars fan with the sequel trilogy. I didn't think that was possible.
I know. It's the one.
Give me a drink?
Not now.
Oh, Jellicle Snug Snack. So I decided on this character.
Did she say Jellicle snack? Is she connecting this to cats?
I think she is. I think she's about to explain that.
Jellicle Snug Snacks, aka Snacks, baby. Behold.
Cosplay became something where I could.
She's an Ewok from Cats?
Yep.
At least she has her memories.
I was looking for it. I was looking for it, Martin, and you found it. Thank you. That's why you're here, my friend.
Express myself very freely. I can be a villain. I can be a non-human creature. I can be a wise sage. I can be a funny character.
I think you like she.
Yeah, there's this thing called Dungeons and Dragons. You can do all of that and not pay $6,000 and just roll some dice. Just saying.
I feel like the Clint Eastwood Gran Torino meme right now.
Which one is that?
Just the.
I don't think they have villains in D&D anymore. They're all just misunderstood now, aren't they?
Probably.
Yeah,
except for the paladins.
Yeah.
Right.
And I found that very freeing.
Pleased to know that our new ship's mechanic, Sammy, has brought him here.
It's 70 hours.
I'm sorry. You say to somebody, "What's your name?" and they respond, "Jellicle Snug Snacks." That's the end of the conversation.
I thought you were saying Snack Shack.
I like that.
Immersive theater happening over the course of 2 days.
Just call me Snacks.
Yes. If
Just call me Snacks? No.
we're skilled enough and we do our job, you take them through not just watching a hero's journey, but living it.
Does the hero's journey happen after Rey leaves? Because there was no hero's journey there.
This is kind of like a real life version of like those like Discord or Skype groups back in the day, you know, where you're all like role playing a character.
No, I don't know, Nolan, but it sounds like you do.
Tell us more, Nolan.
Yeah. Did you make friends?
What's Discord?
What was your character's name?
That was a different time. That was a very different time, and I did not have any. Okay, I did have an alias. Okay, we're gonna move this along. Back to the documentary, please.
What color were your cat ears, Nolan?
I didn't go that far. Did not go that far.
It comes out.
Jonas told me an amazing story. I'll tell you after the stream because I don't know if it's general knowledge, but.
So an alternate reality game is what we call this transmedia experience. You have to go out and search and seek.
I just downloaded some stuff to my data pad.
See, the exact thing that you can do in the park. It's pretty much the exact thing you can do in the park.
You know what I love about Disney and these devices is that my kids want to be on them all the time, and I've spent hundreds or thousands of dollars to take them to these places for them to be on devices. That's super.
Yeah. Now your family, Martin. I mean, this would be easily a 5-figure vacation.
It would be if I did this sort of thing.
Yeah.
On player characters. Holy crap.
What we fight for! It's not enough.
This is amazing. maybe this world is deeper than I think it is. How deep does it go?
How did Disney create this thing that's so magic and powerful and connected so many people in such a...
And it died.
Did you see that one? Okay, so the probably the coolest thing I thought about this Galactic Star Cruiser was the fact that Disney had created this actual proper retractable lightsaber. But the darndest thing about it though is the fact that the blade itself was incredibly fragile. And so there are videos out there where Rey shows up, she activates the lightsaber, and then she puts it down on the ground and picks up another regular saber that's been lit
Stunt
up.
saber, yeah.
The stunt
That's
saber
because
that they start fighting.
It's not that it's fragile, it's that it's flexible. It's made out of the same thing that a tape measure is.
Yeah, no. Well, yes, for dueling, so you can't really do that. But it just, you don't think they could have come up with a better way to do that swap?
Sorry, guys, it's interrupting Trish.
She's here. Lady of the hour.
I said it in private, but I just want to say so everyone can hear it. Lauren is amazing. He is so patient and helpful, and I don't know what I would have done without him helping me this whole time. So thank you so much, Lauren.
I had nothing to do with fixing your problem.
Listen, you were just there for me, so even that.
Lauren
but I still don't know. We still don't totally know what happened. Just
well, I do have a suspicion, but I didn't have anything to do with fixing you. You said that you're using a splitter. Get rid of it. I'm telling you.
The thing is, no one cares about this. But the thing is, when it wasn't working, I had taken it. It wasn't working in the splitter. I took it out, put it. It was working in that. I put it in something else, and now that didn't work, and now it's working again in the splitter.
Hi, I'm Lauren Connor of Lauren Connor's IT and Emotional Support.
Please, just do me a favor. Have you ever, when this happens, taken the splitter out of the loop and plugged it directly into the USB port and had it not work?
No, I don't
Get rid of the splitter.
I mean, it's always worked. The thing has always worked.
You guys are using words that I know, but I don't understand.
Trish, I have done this kind of work for 27 years. All that it means when you say it has always worked is that, yes, it worked before and now it doesn't. It's not working. Get rid of the splitter.
Okay.
It's like the government.
Hi, I'm Lauren Connor for Lauren Connor's IT Emotional Support and Tough Love.
No, but like honestly, for real though, guys, like he was a gem. So I would have been like,
Let me tell you, there are two types of tech support people. There are people who do it and rage quit and have a heart attack, and there are people that do it for 27 years. So you kind of get used to it.
All right, guys.
Okay, I won't derail it anymore. Sorry, guys.
Let's get back. Trish, you're back just in time for Star Wars.
Oh, awesome. I was hoping I'd catch this.
Yeah. All right.
No, this is creepy cat lady Star Wars, though.
Yeah, no, you will actually like this.
All right, I'm here for it. Let's go.
Oh God, could you imagine you got engaged on the Galactic Star Cruiser? Like that's your story.
What's the over under on how quick they're going to get divorced after this?
He made me do it.
There's no way they even got married. when the Star Cruiser closed, they were probably like, "What's the point?"
It's a sign.
Life isn't worth living if the
Halcyon isn't here.
The funny thing about this is, which one of them had this idea?
It's a good question.
I mean, I would assume he planned it, right?
You would assume that, but you would assume that, but take a look at that lady as he's kneeling there in front of her. This might have been her idea.
Thing that's so magic and powerful and connected
Oh, yeah, maybe.
so many people in such a positive way.
It felt kind of like I'd been searching for.
When I proposed to my wife, she was actually mad at me because I chose a day where she was not wearing an outfit that she found cute enough to have been proposed to in.
Such a female thing.
No, that is such a my wife thing.
Like a certain level of belonging for a very long time, and that you feel like kind of instantly at home and welcome.
It's evolved into not just Star Cruiser friends, they're just friends now. And that Disney certainly did not plan for.
Is the Heroes of the Halcyon podcast still in existence without the Halcyon?
I hope so.
I can find out.
Yeah. You don't know, and you look it up.
He did not plan for.
Breaking news from Disney this afternoon. One of its newest hotels at Disney World is about to close its doors for good.
This is the third to last voyage, and I can feel that. People are crying and sad.
Disney is permanently.
That must have been an uplifting use of $6,000.
Yeah.
Everyone weeps around you.
I just can't get over that she keeps dropping $6,000 on this.
Oh, we're going to talk about that in a second. Hold on.
Shutting down its Galactic Star Cruiser hotel.
I think that it was doomed, like hard doomed from the beginning.
Yeah, that is just so sad. It's over. That was a year and a half of magic that everybody who got to touch it and be a part of it will remember forever.
All right, I think that's about it. So they have raised. Okay, go ahead.
I did some research. For good news, Heroes of the Halcyon is actually still around. Looks like they do a bi-weekly series, much like how we do a weekly one. And it's the most recent upload was actually March 21st. So props
Is it always about the Halcyon?
They had a 3rd year anniversary remembrance, so it looks like they talked about it a bit, but it looks like it goes a bit into a variety from what I can tell. I haven't done a deep dive yet, but I can if you need me to.
Interesting. All right. Well, let's get to some super chat. Did Trish vanish again?
Yeah, it looks like Lauren and Trish both disappeared.
Huh.
Still here? Yeah,
there you
that's what I was saying. I'm actually still here. I was trying to get back into the chat and I hit the wrong button. So how's that for tech support?
Did Trish's entire system break again?
I have no idea. I didn't realize that she was gone. So I guess maybe I'm back to tech support.
Kind of a busman's holiday for Lauren.
Sorry,
All right,
guys.
Well, let's get some super chats in the meantime. So Rapid Wolverine LC Killer 17 for $2 says, for some reason I'm excited for Avengers Doomsday. I have no idea what that reason might be.
Wait. I've got to say, and this might come as a shock, I am now mildly interested in Avengers Doomsday because of the fact that my favorite, that's not true. My favorite Marvel character is Darkhawk, but my second favorite Marvel character is the Sentry. I've always liked that character. I mean, I don't like the way that many writers have handled him, but I've always thought that character had vast untapped potential. However, I digress. Lewis Pullman is an actor who is confirmed to be in Avengers Doomsday as the Sentry. So that means that he survives the Thunderbolts, which I was really, really worried about. And so I'm kind of, my curiosity is peaked. Yeah, I know, Lord. You said it's a flashback. I know. But I can't believe that they would give him a Robert Downey crew chair for a flashback.
I don't know, man. Wait, did you say that your favorite comic book character is the Sentry after Darkhawk?
Well, let's see. Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, Nate Gray, X-Man, Thunderstrike, and then the Sentry.
Explain. What do you like? What do you like about him?
Darkhawk?
No, it's the Sentry.
Oh, the Sentry. Okay. Well, I mean,
it's like Bendis was like, well, what if I made Superman, but like his kryptonite is like bipolarism, and I'm also really bad at writing him.
Yeah. Okay. No. I will never forgive Bendis for the way that he handled the Sentry. Right from the beginning to the very end, he treated him like a complete joke. But I thought the concept of the Sentry really fit in well with the entire Marvel conceit, because there was a certain time where, when you compared DC characters to Marvel characters, DC characters were essentially gods. They might have had their foibles, but the entire point about Marvel, and what some people argue set Marvel off on its path to success, was the fact that Marvel characters were a lot more relatable and down to earth and human, like Peter Parker, who never found success. Tony Stark, who had an alcoholism problem, et cetera, and so forth. So the idea of a Superman level hero, I mean, they always say that the biggest threat to Superman is not physical, it's attacking stuff that he likes, stuff that he cares about, his mental. Even they even had to give him that whole magic weakness, right? So the idea of the Sentry being someone with, on a physical scale, godlike powers, yet mentally having agoraphobia, some other sort of mental challenges, anxieties, phobias that a lot of people have. I thought that fit well into the spirit of the Marvel mold. I liked how Jenkins introduced him, especially in that first miniseries. The second miniseries was meh. I also liked the way that was it Lemire who did that series where he finally had the Sentry merge with the Void at the end, only to have it undone by a Black Panther comic 2 months later. But all that to be said, I like the character. I like the concept of the character. I think there's a lot of potential there, especially throwing him into a cosmic setting. I just hate the way that the majority of writers have treated him like a punching bag, essentially.
My favorite thing with the Sentry was in Secret Invasion, when you had the issue where they were like showing like how the invasion went down and the Skrulls behind the scenes. Like one of the Skrulls is like, "Oh my God, guys, they've got this guy. He throws people into the sun."
Yeah.
Like, what are we gonna do? And the Jarvis Skrull is like, nah, don't worry about it. This is not gonna be a problem. And so when the Skrulls attack, the Sentry's like, "Why are you doing this?" And the Jarvis Skrull goes, "I'm not doing this, Bob. You are. I'm the Void." And he goes, "No!" and runs away.
Yeah. That was a Bendis thing, by the way.
Yes, of course it was a Bendis thing. But Bendis is also, he created the character, so
no, he did not. It was Jenkins.
Did he not?
Started, and it was Jenkins as a FU to Bendis who ended up making it canon that what was it? Sentry and Rogue got it on.
Oh.
Was it Rogue? Yeah, I think it was Rogue. Yeah.
Look, I am open to the idea of the Sentry in the MCU, depending on how he is used.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a Superman level character that is not Captain Marvel. So yeah. By the way, we never really kind of finished our conversation about the Halcyon thing. I realized as we moved on to Super Chat. So I want to backtrack for just one quick second. I see no problem with liking to dissociate from reality. To this is therapy for me when we get to come on here and jaw jack for 3 hours. Like, I love that. So whatever helps you. It's just, I don't understand, like, how do you have that much disposable income, and why would you be willing to miss your father's 80th birthday to go be on the Star Wars Star Cruiser? Like, I don't get it. There are cheaper LARP experiences that I'm sure you can find. Is that like, Nolan, you're the resident expert. Is that like a thing? Like, are there like you can go to do this that are not $6,000?
I do not take any ownership in casual role play. First off, second off, yeah, people are dedicated to the art of stuff. I used to know some people who, for their fictional franchise, they would take a bullet just to preserve a franchise they love if they feel like it was going to bring happiness to other people. Some people, let's be real here, this is their life. And especially with seeing what we have from that documentary, if this is what their life is, I'm not really one to dictate of how they're going to live it. I don't necessarily agree with everything, but it is still the choice for them to make. Now, if I had to, if I had a close connection with a relative, but, not everyone has that. Some people have really toxic relationships, and maybe sometimes for old wounds to be open, it's for the best not to, but I can't say for their particular situation. Hopefully they had a good connection, and hopefully he lived to see more years ahead, but it's its own can of worms. You never really know what their story is for their own particular spot.
Cosplaying is a very old thing. The first time I ever really came across it was war reenactors doing their thing. But the way it's being co-opted by these mega conglomerates to make money off of people's passions and hobbies, it's icky.
Well, there's like an entire Star Wars cosplay group called the 501st who are dedicated to making you know, screen accurate costumes, right? But I don't think they're allowed to actually wear their costumes to Disney.
No,
they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
I don't think you can wear masks or robes, which is hilarious because they sell them.
This is kind of one of the things that I find fascinating because when we were talking about the Galactic Star Cruiser originally, when it was first coming out and everything, I predicted that this was going to be a problem because I think people enjoy the process. If you're a cosplayer, you like putting together the costume, you like doing the craft part of it. But let's be real here. Most people who are in the geek community are introverts. They're not extroverts. And you get a bunch of people together and you ask them to role play, and it's going to be awkward as can be. I'm in kind of a weird position where I have technically cosplayed, I guess, as Indiana Jones because I do have the outfit. I got that for when Kingdom of the Crystal Skull came out. I could see maybe doing something like a stormtrooper outfit or a Republic Commando or something like that. But outside of that, I would feel so weird doing it. I respect those people who do, who especially if they have the ability to make their own costumes, if they have those kind of skills and are able and willing to show that off, I think that's awesome. But if you think that's gonna work as a core experience for a hotel experience, it was doomed from the start.
I would love to talk to an actual hotelier who has experience and could. It's a workable idea, but I feel like what you need is a resort hotel themed around Star Wars that people can opt into cosplay experiences as they want.
Well, I think another big mistake was making it a multi-day thing. Now, if you were going to do something like dinner theater murder mystery on the Halcyon, that could work. But I think if you make it a multi-day thing where you're confined to this place and you're charging all this money, that's never going to work. They should have focused on the cantina and a variable murder style mystery where you could go back and redo it and have different results, different suspects, all of that kind of stuff. That I think could have worked.
Photon Empress hit it on the head here. The LARP part should have just been one small part of a larger Star Wars hotel. That's the thing. People wanted a Star Wars hotel. They wanted a pool, they wanted themed restaurants, they wanted a cool room, and they wanted to be able to come and go as they please.
They wanted to have their Mai Tai served by Chewie.
Exactly.
Can I say one more thing before we change subject here?
Are you going to admit something? Are you going to give us a big truth about your secret double life?
No, but I wanted to give a big correction, especially for everyone in the audience, because I was responding to something at the time when you asked me this. My viewpoints on Star Cruiser, because I actually do have some close connection to some people who do some cosplay and like a lot of it. And I thought you were referring to more of like
I knew it.
The bubble.
Do their names start with Nolan?
Cosplay culture and role-playing culture. Get your mind out of the gutter there.
I'm sure you know right where that line is. Right where that line is as you've leaped across it.
But I just want to say is when you have something like the Star Cruiser that is multiple day experiences, that's going to be a more and more niche audience. And you're going to attract an audience who really want to embrace those characters as escapism. Aside from, it's not just that, because a lot of the cosplay people I know, and I really want to be a actual cosplayer one day. Me and my cousin are talking about dressing up for the next con we're going to. We do it more as like a Halloween type dress up thing. If you're making this a
say that you aspire to be a cosplayer?
Yes, I think
it's the impossible dream, Nolan.
It's hard, man.
The unbeatable foe.
My friend spends months on hers. Like she makes like several $1,000s worth cosplays. Like it's a craft and it's an art, bro.
Yeah, some of these people really got into 3D printing early on. Some of the early adopters of 3D printers were cosplayers. You're right. If you want to do it right, it's an art form in its own. I just know very few people who aspire to be it. They just kind of start doing it.
It's time, bro. Trying to get time for it, man. And those fabric, like sewing's hard. I would rather make a prop than sew a costume together. But if I could say one more thing with this is when you're making it a several day retreat, you're going to basically be getting the people who are as niche into it as possible. And it's usually going to be the hardcore people who want the Star Wars lifestyle and the escape and to project themselves into this fantasy realm. If you don't have something to where it's just a single day experience to where you're dressing up like it's Halloween or something like that, it doesn't have to be just a one day thing a year, like an event. It can just be like, don't confine people. Don't make them live out your own Disney's own crafted role play, because then you're just going to have to where people are going to rely on this as being their own world, which is probably why this documentary is getting made in the first place, is because to them, this was a huge part of their life, as opposed to most people who just wanted an excuse to dress up and play around the Star Wars world for a weekend. I think the walls were a little too caved into them. And instead, now I think a lot of people who were a part of the Galactic Star Cruiser are going to be devastated, because now this is a huge part of their life they're never going to get back. And I hate to sound all gloom on it, but I just think Disney really screwed the pooch with this to where now no one's happy.
Well, here's my question. This is the question I had immediately when I saw this. My first question. They're raising $50,000 to make this documentary. If you can afford to go onto the Galactic Star Cruiser enough times where you've developed like long-term friendships, I'm pretty sure you could afford to put out this documentary. But I actually would like to watch this documentary in full if it comes out.
Same.
I think it would be interesting to see.
I think it will just basically be very, very similar to people who, as Lauren kind of said earlier, a lot of cosplayers who have discovered these communities in other far less expensive venues. And I mean, there's nothing against them. Like, wherever you go that you can find something that you connect with emotionally, more power to you. That's fantastic. It's just, there are, I hate to say this, like for that, like this level of passion, I really hope they do realize that they could likely go and create their own sets, their own kind of Star Cruiser community, probably for the same cost that
of riding the Star Cruiser. Yeah. Probably. All right, guys. Let's get to some super chats before we move on this. John Williams for $4.99 says the only beings in Marvel who will survive the universe ending is Franklin Richards and Mr. Immortal. Kevin, is that true? Angry?
Isn't it the Hulk who's always the one at the end of the universe, or is that just me?
That was one of the 4 jillion everybody dies stories, but yeah, it being Franklin would make sense. I was thinking that they should
Galactus.
Well, I was thinking they should borrow just the Onslaught Heroes Return ending, where everything goes to hell and Franklin jams them into the little universe ball, and then they all kind of get rebooted as he knew them or thinks or how he thought of them, which is how we got Tony Stark to stop being a teenager, because technically Tony Stark is the only actual comic book character to stay dead now. The Tony Stark we have is was a alternate dimension Tony Stark who got aged up by Franklin.
That's true.
Interesting.
That's true.
So, yeah, I figured they would just do a soft reboot by having it be Franklin's fault. Franklin just puts the universe back according to how he thinks it should have been.
All right, Regina Sharp for $5 says, Gamergate dingoes ate my baby. It's true. I believe that.
Is this some kind of game? Answer me, baby!
Marvin, every time you play that clip, I just think of that Shadow the Hedgehog clip. This is like taking candy from a baby, which is fine by me.
P-Gate was a hoax by 4chan, says John Williams for $1.99 for lulz. Probably. John Williams for $4.99 says, let's be real, it wasn't a movement, just people talking. That's the other thing, yeah. It was literally just people talking, and the journalists got scared because it started to threaten their, the racket that they have going on. And John Williams says it was Glom Gold. However, John Williams, I will say normally we have a $5 minimum on Glom Gold, requests. However, you super chat so much, brother, that I'm not going to hold you to it.
Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold! Glom Gold!
I was just putting that message out there to the rest of you. All bee booty bees and bacon with big bees for $2. Says it happened to my next door neighbor. What, Gamergate? Oh, swatting.
No,
probably.
it was for getting swatted.
Oh my gosh, that is terrifying. John Williams 499 says they sent a squad of SWAT bears to Kev's house. Kev gave him a 5-minute head start. That bear is gonna be waking up soon, brother. Are you ready?
You know that as I got up this morning, there was a bag of garbage strewn across my neighbor's yard. I don't know if he's back early or if it was a raccoon that I've also been feuding with. But
how many animal feuds do you have going at one time?
I've got ever since I saved that kid from a bear, it's all been downhill. Or well, I mean, there's one thing I can't talk about because it's technically illegal in New York State.
Oh boy.
Kevin's destiny is the elimination of all animal life. that is his destiny in the Marvel universe, is to kill the last animal.
Technically, the thing I can't talk about because it's illegal in New York State, I thought the thing killed my dog because I heard the rattle and then she jumped. So I keep an axe by my front door. And
in New York, shouldn't we be talking about what's technically legal?
That's true too.
Yeah. So let's see. Regina Sharp for $5 says, sorry, Hangry. The Great Compromise legislation says we can't admit Canada as a state until we admit Greenland.
51st state or nothing. We're not going to be no 52nd state.
Greenland is made of ice, and Iceland is very nice. I learned that from the Mighty Ducks too. Tyler Golasinski for $9.99.
Choosers, Hangry.
Yeah, for real. You're in no position to make commands.
We'll take Alberta.
Tyler Golasinski for $9.99 says halfway through third season of DuckTales. Right now I'm on the Duck Swing episode. I'm assuming if you heard, they will be doing a new the Darkwing. Darkwing Duck show. They got the original voices to do Darkwing. Yeah, I have heard, and I got to cover this sometime, probably tomorrow, that this Seth Rogen Darkwing Duck show is not dead. That upsets me. That upsets me because
Lord.
I don't want Seth Rogen near anything else from my childhood after what he did to the Turtles.
Like he had everything you love.
Yeah, he ruined the Green Hornet. He ruined Donkey Kong. He ruined the Lion King. He ruined Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Stop putting him in the things that I love. He even tried to ruin Christmas.
I'm just glad he wasn't an 80s kid.
How did he try to ruin Christmas?
Him and Sarah Silverman made a Christmas special.
Yeah,
Christmas Inc. or something like that.
It's really bad.
They made it was the most like angry, like Kevin, how would you describe it?
I mean, you were on target. It was the single most mean-spirited,
mean-spirited
thing created.
Yeah, it was just so anti-Christmas, put out as a Christmas special.
It got memory pretty quick.
Made by two people who, as kids, never had Christmas. So, it's Seth Rogen and Sarah Silverman, both of whom are not funny. Liquid Fox for $2 Canadian says it actually looks like Sega CD. I don't know what he was referring to there, but I'm sure it did.
I have a Sega CD in the other room.
Oh, I think that came up when we were talking about the Galactic Star Cruiser rooms.
Oh my goodness, it does look like the Sega CD. But yeah, it's cool.
Man of culture.
John Williams for $9.99 says nothing will top Marv's wedding, where Kathleen Kennedy tried to convince Mrs. Monster that she don't need no man, only for Triple H to hit KK with the pedigree, thinking she was Jericho. I could see that happening. Like him thinking, like Jericho is kind of looking like Kathleen Kennedy nowadays. Also, I gifted 5 Tooney Town TV memberships. Remember, guys, membership gifting is a thing that that is fun to do. It is good to do. It is nice to share the love and turn the chat green. So congratulations to the 5 people that got those memberships. Hope you enjoy all of the early access and exclusive content. Liquid Fox for $2 Canadian says you interrupted the sacrifice, Apollo. They were doing some ritualistic sacrifice. And John Williams 199 says Santa Inc. trailer is why the dislike disappeared. Oh, that's interesting. Is that the one?
Oh,
that
I
makes
think
sense.
That was kind of the beginning of YouTube fans turning on the mega corporations. But yeah, it was around the time.
That makes sense. I could see like them trying to shield Sarah Silverman at all costs. All right, guys. So Disney has a really weird obsession with something. Many things, but this one is yeah, kind of also with this. Disney has doubled down on its anti-father obsession as Agatha All Along showrunner confirms Agatha's son is yet another child conceived by 2 women on Disney Plus.
That keeps happening.
It happened again.
I was assured by my high school gym coach that sort of thing couldn't be possible.
In the Acolyte, we got the lesbian space witches conceived twins, and in this one we had the lesbian Earth witches conceived Nicholas Scratch.
Which, by the way, makes zero sense.
Zero sense.
If Aubrey Plaza, is supposed to be death. Death cannot create.
Yep.
It's just nonsense.
It's honestly, I don't think that was. I think that this is, and as you might agree with me as we go through the story, but just food for thought. I think this is a situation where the fans started running with it as a ship, and after the fact, she just liked it and decided that she was going to say it was canon.
100%.
There's nothing that will ever be, referenced again. So Disney's ongoing shift toward dismantling traditional family values dynamics continues. Now confirmed once again in its latest Marvel offering, Agatha All Along, following months of speculation. Showrunner Jack Schaefer recently revealed at Paley Fest that Agatha's son, Nicholas Scratch, was conceived by Agatha Harkness, played by Catherine Hahn, and Rio Vidal, played by Aubrey Plaza, with no father involved. The move echoes a similar controversial reveal in last year's The Acolyte. Schaefer's comments during the panel made it clear that this was no accident. It all started at Paley Fest when Agatha cast member Sashir Zamata pointed out that a lot of people think that Nikki is the son of Agatha and Rio. Schaefer nodded enthusiastically, confirming the rumor. Schaefer then noted that they didn't want to go into the hows and whys of it, probably because you don't know. However, she definitely stated it was really lovely that there was something the fans said that we could confirm. She said, "We got a lot of questions. Who's the dad?" We were like, "Why do you want to know?" She explained, talking about Agatha and her son. "It was something that was important to the writers, and that was important to me, rather than addressing the natural curiosity about the child's parentage, a question that has driven countless stories across literature and cinema. Schaefer and the writers chose to reject the concept entirely, as if even asking the question was outdated." Variety then later seemed to confirm this by saying, in the series, Agatha wears a locket to remember her and Rio's son, Nikki. Entertainment media outlets like Variety seemed all too eager to celebrate this decision, highlighting it alongside articles praising the series' other themes, from mommy issues to character-centric musical numbers, but nowhere was there concern over the broader implications or audience reception to these narratives. But viewers are telling a different story. Obviously, Agatha All Along bombed out tremendously.
Is this the gayest baby conception you've ever seen?
Oh my gosh. I had to check to make sure he wasn't the one that wrote it. He wasn't, because if he was, I'd have started ripping him apart. But I Regina Sharp hit the nail. Like, I thought Mephisto was the father. Like, that would make more sense. She had a baby with the devil
and named it Scratch. Yeah.
Like, I thought that was like what was being like I thought that was what was being insinuated in the show, and it probably was. And then Jack Schaefer heard this and decided it would piss people off, so she went with it. What do you
I
guys
thought
think?
it was a way to get season 2.
Yeah, probably.
I think isn't it flat out inferred in one of the first 2 episodes?
They mentioned Mephisto, but they don't actually like. I think they say that she made a deal with Mephisto to get the Darkhold or something like. I don't know.
Yeah, but remember, this was a show that was built around the idea that we're going to do an Unusual Suspects ending. A Usual Suspects ending. Like, they did an entire post-credits episode. Like, the end of the show was that big fight, and then they did an episode that was a Marvel post-credits sequence where it recontextualizes everything.
Yeah, that's true. Oh my gosh, I don't understand it. I don't understand why this keeps happening. Like, the themes keep popping up. The witches, the babies, like that. This can't be a coincidence that this happened twice in one year. Lauren, We're talking about your favorite subject, Agatha, so I figured you'd want to weigh in.
No.
I think it was a decision for the only audience that watched that show. How about that?
Well, look, a big part of my hate for this show was that this was one of the rare shows where they actually had a chance to do something fun with it. If they had done something like Tenacious D and the Dial of or the Pick of Destiny, I think the show actually would have worked. But they didn't do that. They got close in one of the episodes, and if they had just pushed the envelope a little farther without the agenda part, it could have been a great show. It was not. They wanted to pretend that this was a hard-edged show that was going to be shocking, and mostly it was just their regular tame BS that they did and everything else. It's just not a good show.
Yeah.
No,
it's not just Marvel on TV that's doing this stuff. Marvel in the comic books decided that Nightcrawler wasn't Azazel's son. He was
the child of Destiny and
Mystique. There we go. Yeah.
Didn't they infer that Mystique didn't turn into a man? She just morphed her like nether region, so that she had to still be a woman for the conception of,
did they really go that deep?
I don't know if they did or if that was just what somebody was inferring. I didn't read the book, but I remember everybody freaking out when it happened because it's this Disney obsession with children born of two women.
And
I have to commend Lauren for holding back on that when I saw that look on your face.
It stinks.
I gotta put Lauren's head on that on the critic there.
I truly did hate that show. That show induced rage in me.
I remember we were all there.
I mean, there are a lot of shows that I've had to watch that are garbage and that I don't like, but that one actually felt like I was insulted. It was like paying somebody money and getting punched in the face. It was just awful.
Hangry, I think you hit the nail on the head, though. This was a decision made for the only audience for this show, the infinitesimal audience that it had. Did Hangry step away?
No, I'm right here. No. I agree completely. I think they kind of knew going in that they would only attract a very, very, very tiny subset of Marvel fans, and they just went all in towards, giving them their version of fan service, I think. So
apparently they're giving Jack Schaefer another at bat. I've been hearing rumors that she's in charge of the Vision series, the White Vision.
They took Vision away from her.
Oh, good.
I don't remember who has it, but she got kicked off of Vision.
By the way,
is still going forward?
Yeah.
I think I actually have a clip that shows the audience of the of Agatha All Along. Another one of my favorite. Another South Park joke that aged like fine wine is the PC Babies.
That checks out. But speaking of comics, it just reminded me, I wanted to mention something to you, Marvin. I know that you were probably pretty enthused when they changed Superman's motto from Truth, Justice, and the American Way to Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow. It looks like they've changed it again, because now in the most recent Superman comic this week, the banner is Truth, Justice, and a Better World.
Ugh.
Well, Hangry, you have to leave now too, right?
Yes,
you just dropped that bomb and now you're gonna leave.
I'd leave on a high note.
You're farting in the middle of the room and then just good night, everybody. Hangry, why don't you tell the people where they can find you if they want to after you drop that news on us?
Yes, well, you can find me on the Genre Guys with Lauren and Lou Washerman's Ghost, and you can also find me on the Lost Guys with Nolan Thunder and Martin Stone and Trish, and other than that, I'm just kind of bopping around.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Hangry. You're always welcome on the show. We love when you show up. I got to make an intro video for you at some point.
Yay. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Have a great night.
See you, buddy.
Good night.
And then Jason sees that that's John Kent, Superman's mod. Okay. All right. Here's a fun one. Rust is coming out. And a trailer was released.
So they're gonna take a shot at releasing this, huh?
Yeah.
Oh.
If you think that's bad, just wait till what we're about to explore.
Is the song attached to the trailer? Hit me with your best shot.
Aw. So here's the thing. It actually looks really good. Like, it's shot beautifully, and it looks like a classic Western.
It was paid for in blood. Of course, it looks good.
It just so happens that, you know, the leading star, Alec Baldwin, shot and killed someone on the set. So, you know. But here's the thing I really wanted to talk about is the comment section on this video, because it is chef's kiss. All right.
You want to see what they... You want to see a music video like we got with Snow White? This will blow it out of the water.
It would. Exec 1. Should we really release this? Exec 2. It's worth a shot. The deleted scenes on the DVD are going to be wild. At least we all know the gunshots aren't CGI. No animals were hurt during shooting. Came straight to the comments, and just like Alec Baldwin, they didn't miss.
Oof.
Alec will be gunning for an Oscar in this movie. Here's the irony is that it's a movie about someone who actually kills someone, and while making it, Baldwin accidentally killed someone. That's interesting. Alec Baldwin went full method acting on this. I think this movie's worth a shot, based on a true story. If this movie were to release in 3D, it would just be Alec Baldwin on stage shooting at the audience. This is my favorite one. I stand behind Alec Baldwin because it's much safer than standing in front of him. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Alec Baldwin, 2021. Be nice in these comments, guys. Baldwin is easily triggered. Sometimes I like the internet. Sometimes I don't, but sometimes I do. Alec is firing on all cylinders. Jeez. Oh my gosh. Looks like a hot shot in this one. Just what a strange timeline that we live in. Guys, do you think it is inappropriate to release this movie?
Yes.
Yeah. You would just can the whole thing.
What's the upside? I don't see any upside to this. It's like,
right.
Suppose it's a good movie. How are you going to handle the Oscars? you
don't even submit it.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the thing, though. It's like, how is this going to work? It's not going. I just don't see any way to spin this as a positive. Even if it's a good movie, this is one that you got to take the loss on and can it.
Yeah.
Wasn't Jensen Ackles supposed to be in this, and I didn't see his name listed in there?
I was just thinking that. Jensen Ackles is in this movie somewhere.
Maybe he just refused to come back, and they reshot his scenes.
That's possible. Who knows? Now, from what I understand, Alec Baldwin got away with this, right? Is he being brought up on charges, or were they dropped?
I think they were dropped.
Yeah, they were dropped, and then they tried to re-bring them back up, but they were denied. So yeah, he pretty much got away with this scot-free.
I mean, that's got to be at least because, if you accidentally hit someone with your car, that's still involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah, but look what happened to Vince Neil. Practically nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
I guess if you're rich and famous enough, and you fall on the right side of political discourse, then you can pretty much get away with anything.
Yep.
Movie stunt work and guns kind of baffle me because I grew up learning gun safety, and when it comes to movie stunt work, you throw all that out the window. And I know there are additional steps for safety that they do to try to mitigate the risk, but you know, every gun's a loaded gun. Don't point at anything you don't intend to kill. You know, just the basic rules.
Yep.
And you have to throw that all out the window. And so that means you have to take extra other steps to make sure. And I feel like if you're using a wheel gun as opposed to like a semi-automatic, it's in a way a little more dangerous because that's totally enclosed and I don't know, but then the semi-automatic, that's what got Brandon Lee because of the jam of the cartridge.
And you know, that was what I was thinking about in the beginning was like, oh, I guess I'm okay with them releasing this because they released The Crow, but then I realized it's not an apples to apples situation. Brandon Lee was the lead in that movie and he was killed on the set. Releasing it was almost a memorial for him. It was his final work being presented. This, for some reason, like this coming out and Alec Baldwin's face being all over it, I don't know, man. Please tell me he at least gave his entire salary from this movie to this woman's family.
No,
I'm sure he did. I'm sure he did.
Well,
No,
minus
he had
the
to pay
cost
for
of a bullet.
hilarious- he had to pay for hilarious fake Spanish accent. The
that shrew that he lives with that belittles him and completely.
And now they've got a TV show.
Oh,
They've got a
we can all
reality
see
TV
it.
show.
So you don't talk when I'm talking. But go ahead, Kev.
I don't know. This whole thing was just like a lesson in how to get someone hurt. You need a quartermaster. You don't want to pay the top dollar for it, so you go get his daughter. You ignore the fact that his daughter almost blew out Nicolas Cage's eardrums, and wasn't as experienced as her father. Then you cut steps because the movement of the weapons is supposed to have a super detailed process, so we're skipping steps there. And then like Martin said, then you're out there pointing the weapon at people, playing pew pew pew, like you're.
Is that what happened? He was fooling around with it.
No, well, so they were on set, and some reports say that the scene he was shooting didn't have any trigger pulling in it at all. He says the gun just went off. I have handled a lot of guns like that in my life. That type has never just gone off on me. I mean, not that particular model, but just, you know.
What was it? The cartoon gun from Roger Rabbit with the cowboy bullets in it?
Well, see, yeah. So you magically just pulled the hammer back.
Yeah.
I get that reference now.
And I've heard stories that
they
pass the time on the set by using these guns and firing live ammunition, you know, like range style. I really feel like that's a no-no. If you're gonna be shooting for fun, don't use the prop guns. That seems like a no-brainer because
So we're all pretty much in agreement. This movie should not be coming out, but it is. And do you think they have the stones to have Alec Baldwin go out and do press for it?
I mean, if you're gonna, I think the only upside here is that the family will get some money from the movie.
Yeah.
It's the only upside.
If there was ever a movie to take the Rachel Zegler approach with, like, no media interviews or anything like that, this is the movie.
Yeah, this movie.
I really think the only way is to brazen through, though. Just treat it like every other movie and just move forward.
Yeah,
that's the only way they can make it work.
Well, I mean, the second you get in front of a media a reporter who's not a puppet, that's the first question they're going to ask. So,
I think you just put this out, put your head down, get to the other side of it, and just kind of
All right. Well, unfortunately, at the end of this conversation, it's also the end of Lauren's got to head out, which is sad. We were doing the Marvel discussion next, but Lauren, we'll try to get your opinion on that next week.
Yeah, I apologize, guys. I've got a headache creeping in, so I got to drop. But I hope you guys all have a good rest of the show, and I'll see the rest of y'all real soon.
See you, buddy.
See you, Lauren.
See you guys.
All right. So First of all, before we get into this, Nolan Thunder, you had a homework assignment this past week to go.
And I did my homework.
Roger Rabbit. And what'd you think? Give us your review.
Guys, sorry, I just want to pull up my notes here real quick. I just wanted to say, I love this movie.
I love it's anthropomorphic animals.
No, is there anything I love? It's Jessica Rabbit, but that's beside that. Anyways, I just want to say this film was fantastic. A lot of times with movies, going back for homework assignments on them, I'm usually checking the runtime. This one just flew by, and that was a great sign. It was creative, and this is one of the few movies I've seen over the past few years where it wasn't predictable. Most of what I expected to happen was stuff I had already known from spoilers over the past few years. I knew a bit about what was going to happen to the villain at the end and all that.
So you knew the judge was a Toon.
I didn't know he was a Toon, but I knew he went out in a very gruesome fashion. I knew that part. But I gotta say, what caught me off guard was I didn't realize that Christopher Lloyd played Judge Doom. When I saw that, I was so happy. I was like, oh my God, he's perfect as a villain.
He kills it as Judge Doom with the "I'm looking for a murderer." I love that scene.
No, I appreciate you talking because I got a second to pull up my notes here. Let me just say, I really respect about this movie how it wasn't just a cameo fest. Like, it's not like a lot of modern movies, where it's like let's take Marvel, for example. All right, how many X-Men characters can we pull out of the grave, just to, sell tickets because people connect with these characters? If anything, I think a lot of the cameos were the least interesting thing about this movie, because I just think the character development and their story is just so fascinating. That scene where you get to see Valiant at his police department and you find out like the backstory about his brother, about how he, passed away from a Toon, and you see that he never got rid of his seat at the desk and how it's collected all the dust over the years, and his connection with Roger about that. That hit me more emotionally than most films that come out today. And this is a film about a cartoon rabbit with a fictional triple cup girlfriend and a murder mystery regarding the Looney Tunes and Disney. It's a silly premise, but there's an art to how you can make it to thread the needle, and you need to be someone who's passionate about this. And it was clearly done by people who knew what they were doing, because if they did this film wrong, it would have been annoying as heck. But it's a close to perfect movie. I love the jazzy soundtrack. I love the gripping characters. The dialogue, it's not all just an exposition dump. Like, they actually put a lot of thought into. I feel like this would be
they trust the audience in this movie to pick up on things, which is why as a kid I didn't pick up on a lot of the plot.
You would have sworn this would have been like a book or something first, because of how much time they put into the words. They didn't just rely on the amazing effects.
It was a book.
It was a book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's
pretty dark.
I forgot. Yeah, that would explain that shoe scene, because that was the only scene I didn't like in the movie. That poor shoe. Like, I feel like if I saw that as a kid, I would have been traumatized.
That shoe traumatized all of us as children.
Like, it's that shoe, Bambi's mother, and that Ewok.
Yes.
Ewok? Which Ewok?
The one where the music swells and it goes and he lingers over the body.
That one. Oh, saddest movie scene. Oh, heartbreaking. Even Kevin's tearing up right now.
For me as a kid, it was like seeing Donald and Daffy Duck doing the dueling pianos.
Mm-hmm.
That's an amazing scene. Mickey and Bugs Bunny skydiving together. Amazing scene. Now, of course, in typical Disney fashion, they screwed Warner Brothers over for this. So Warner Brothers agreed to lend their characters to this movie under, and correct me if I'm wrong here, guys, under the condition that Disney would, in theory, do the same eventually. And when they made Space Jam, they tried to cash in and said, hey, we would love for Mickey Mouse to be the referee for Space Jam. And they were like, absolutely not. Get out of here. Who are you?
Gosh.
But
I know they had a clause too in the deal.
Well, hold on, Martin. What were you saying?
Go ahead, sorry.
I was saying Disney does not play well in other people's sandboxes.
But they want to play in yours.
Yeah.
Or they want you to play in theirs. But go ahead, Nolan.
Oh, no, I was just going to say that I believe there was a clause that whenever Mickey and Bugs, like, it had to be the exact equal amount of time. Like, I don't even think you see these characters in any frames outside of each other. I think they're all connected.
They had to be on. They both had to be on screen for the exact same amount of time, and I think they had to have the exact same amount of lines.
They had the Rock Jason Statham clause.
Yes.
I was researching a little bit too after the movies because one thing I thought was like fascinating, if we're talking a bit about behind the scenes here, was I was looking at the credits and Jessica Rabbit's voice actress is uncredited in the movie, which I thought was really weird. And weird. I was looking into it, and there's not even like a really good solid reason. Some people were like, well, she had some kids and she had better things to do right then. She didn't care. And I'm like, that's not really a reason. Like, it's weird. And when I was searching it in the Google tab, I was searching, why is Jessica Rabbit? And that wasn't the first thing that came up. It was, why is she so hot? And I'm like, what? Google? Okay. It's not even just how, it's why. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. But I gotta say, like, I gotta give props to the people who worked on this movie because they had to get a million things right, and they got right almost every one of them. And I have to give one last major shout out to the late Bob Hoskins. I had only, some people might be upset with me about this, but my only time I'd ever seen him in like a major role from my recollection was in the 1990 Super Mario Brothers movie, which was not very good. What's that?
You never saw Hook?
No, that's on my bucket list too. That might be my next homework.
That's your next homework. Is Hook. Hook is an amazing movie.
That is one of the most divisive movies I've ever seen in my life because I think I love it because I love Robin Williams. But some people talk about that movie like it's trash. I don't get it.
I know that one of the knocks against it at the time was that Dustin Hoffman was phoning in his performance.
Oh, I thought he was great as Hook. Yeah, I don't see that at all. I saw Captain Hook. Like, he played it the way people play it on the stage. It's, he was grandiose. It was theatrical. But Bob Hoskins, to circle back to that, we like to give Michael Caine a lot of credit from Up at Christmas Carol because he took it so seriously and he played it, straight as a heart attack and like he was performing in the Globe Theater. Bob Hoskins played this like it was a straight up noir film. Like nothing about it screamed, I'm chewing the scenery because I'm working with cartoon characters. And the fact that he plays it so straight makes the scene where he makes the weasels all laugh themselves to death so insanely entertaining.
And you have to give credit to him too, because this is no attack on Caine, because the dude's an amazing actor. But at least Caine had, the Muppets to work with. It was in front of him. If you ever look at the behind the scenes of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, sometimes, they'd have like a dummy thing in there, but a lot of times I believe it was just void. So this guy was literally basically talking to his imagination. He didn't have someone to work off of, and he had to just act that good to portray it. I'm sorry, even a great actor is going to struggle with that.
He would interact with Dolores and Christopher Lloyd. Everyone else he interacts with is on a regular basis in that movie is pretty much a tune. It's Roger, it's the Weasels, it's Benny the Cab. By the way, so at the Backlot Express restaurant in Hollywood Studios, I remember when I used to visit there was this like little go-kart like toward the back of it. And I used to always be like, what the heck is that? And then I looked one time, there was a plaque next to it. It's Benny the Cab. It's the go-kart that Bob Hoskins drove on the set that was animated into Benny the Cab in post-production.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's not there anymore because it was a cool thing, so they had to take it away.
Yeah, we already know what they did to the Roger Rabbit ride at Disneyland, so I get you there. But
Roger Rabbit was supposed to be the number one character in Hollywood's in MGM Studios, Disney's MGM Studios at the time. Eisner saw that as Roger Rabbit's park. He wanted Roger Rabbit to be as big as Mickey Mouse, but there were some legal issues with the character. They couldn't really roll with it.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but wasn't he also in one of the planning stages for Mickey's Toontown over in Cali as well?
He is in Mickey's Toontown in Cali.
No, I mean, as far as like he was going to be like the central focus of it as well.
Oh, I would assume probably. I'm not, you'd have to ask Vash. I'm not as up on my Disneyland stuff as I should be.
And it's easy to see. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
We have to move on. I'm just realizing how late it is.
True.
So Marvel did something that. All right. So Marvel announced the Avengers Doomsday cast. A veritable who's that of Marvel actors, and they did it over 5.5 hours. And I had to sit there for 5.5 hours. Literally, as I worked, I had to have it on the side. And when the music would start, I would have to look because, if they announced Christopher Evans or something like that. If they had Christopher Lloyd, I would have been happy too. But yeah, let's take a look. We're not going to obviously watch 5.5 hours. This is the condensed 1 hour 47, 1 minute 47 second version. So, all right, Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, that's Sue Storm. Anthony Mackie, obviously, is Falcon Captain America. Sebastian Stan, Winter Soldier. Okay, so far, not terrible, right? Letitia Wright, that is Shuri. Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, obviously. Wyatt Russell, which is U.S. Agent.
Cool.
Which I'm not displeased to see him in this. I like him. So, but I'm like, why is he there? Tenak Huerta Mejia. You might know him as Namor. Yes. The pudgy guy who swims all day, because God forbid he have a swimmer's physique. Eben Moss Bacharach. Trying to remember who that is.
Burt Bacharach's son?
It's like, you beat me to it. It's a long lost son of Burt Bacharach.
He is he's the Thing, Ben Grimm.
Cool.
Yeah. So moving along. Simu Liu. Ugh. Florence Pugh. All right, I like her.
That should have gone Pugh and then Lou.
Instead of Lou Pugh.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Kelsey Grammer, that's a big one. Returning
Sideshow Bob's in the movie?
Yes, he is. I shall send you to heaven before I send you to hell. Now Lewis Pullman, I believe that is the Sentry, if I'm not mistaken. Danny
That's Williams' kid.
Danny Ramirez, I believe, is he the he's the Falcon. New Falcon that everyone hated. But when it can't, God forbid we get rid of him. Joseph Quinn, I don't remember who he is. Is that Joseph Quinn MCU? He's the Human Torch.
Oh.
Ancestor of Dr. Quinn.
Mm-hmm. David Harbour, Red Guardian, Winston Duke, which is M'Baku, Hannah John Common, which is Ghost. Mind you, guys, there were 15 minutes between each of these chairs.
I'll let you finish, actually.
15 minutes went by, and it would be for Ghost. Tom Hiddleston, that's a big one. Patrick Stewart, that's an interesting one. I can only assume he will somehow die again because Patrick Stewart as Charles Xavier has become Kenny from South Park in Marvel.
For fourth time the charm there, Fred.
Every time I show up, someone brutally murders me. Now this one actually, this was the only one that made me sit up straight. Where I was like, really? Ian McKellen. He's 9,000 years old, but he's going to do it.
When Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen get dusted, it's not a special effect. It's because they actually turned to dust.
Yeah. Alan Cumming, who played Nightcrawler. I was not expecting that one. Rebecca Romaine, who please put some clothes on her. She is an old lady at this point.
No, we can see. We can see if it works.
James Marsden as Cyclops is back. Channing Tatum as Gambit. Pedro Pascal, and of course, Robert Downey Jr.
Can't believe we're getting Gambit in this thing.
Is Downey Jr. the kid he has to protect?
Yeah. Who's the child that Pedro Pascal has to get to some location in this one? So yeah, guys, that's how they rolled it out. What happened to having a Hall H panel? I can only assume they thought that bringing out Ghost and M'Baku and Simu Liu at a Hall H panel at Comic-Con would not have gotten a big reaction.
Oh yeah. Well, I think it's twofold. I don't think that other than the professional cosplaying community, comic books are dead. There's no enthusiasm for them, and the and the shows, the cons are starting to be impacted by that. Yeah. And then too, when you go to Hall H, there wasn't here much to be excited about. So they would have had to have pulled like an MTV Movie Awards and packed it with paid audience goers.
Now, a lot of people. So now everyone's like, "Oh, no Spider-Man," which is interesting. But his movie comes out right after this movie, like literally like 2 months after this movie. So I think he's going to kind of be in the Ant-Man situation where he's the movie between the two Avengers movies, and his movie will bridge the gap. I don't know how you do a Doctor Doom is Tony Stark movie without Rhodey or Spider-Man, but they must have a plan or whatever.
I'm confused. Why are the Avengers gone and not just a different team?
Yeah, like why didn't they continue after Endgame? Like, wouldn't you think like they should continue at that point? Like
don't you think Steve would have been like, "Hey guys, why don't you keep this going while I
maybe Pepper decided she wasn't going to spend her money on it."
I'm telling you, I have had this theory since the first movie after Endgame, since Spider-Man First Class.
Yes,
I'm sorry, Spider-Man Far From Home.
Yes.
Wait, I was like, I think Pepper Potts, the second that that funeral ended, never spoke to any of these people again and just took his money and ran.
Cut off the money spigot.
Yep.
Well, I've been screaming that since the end of what was it, Far From Home? I'm like, wait, hold it a second. This kid who is an Avenger and was essentially Tony's adopted son got left out, and no one got him a lawyer. The only person trying is Happy. That's weird. No one comes to his defense. No one goes to his trial.
He could have gotten Daredevil as his lawyer.
He had Daredevil as his lawyer.
Yeah. He did. But it's oh my gosh. But noted by absence here. The accursed one. The destroyer of worlds.
Well, she's off doing cosmic level things. She can't be bothered with tiny stuff like Earth.
I sat there for 5.5 hours, and every time the music hit, there was a pit in my stomach because I'm like, one of these times, it's gonna pull back, and it's gonna be her name.
Where's Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah, he wasn't announced either.
You think they would have her in this? Done. You think they would have her in this movie since she was like the first ever female comic book character on screen? At least that's what she told me.
A couple things in the casting, though. I would have liked to see McAvoy and Fassbender.
Yeah,
that would have been, I think, better for the MCU long term.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it would have made people's heads explode if the chair next to Channing Tatum was Taylor Kitsch, and just have him in some other role. Or just one of them be Gambit, maybe both of them are Gambits or something. That at least would have gotten people talking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
No one, by the way, none of the Marvels are in this, and I think it's because that movie bombed so epically. They were probably like, okay, I guess we're not doing this anymore. Now it's possible that there are more casting announcements to come because, I mean, I don't see them doing this movie without Spider-Man. And I like Kamala Khan. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy her a lot, actually. And I don't mind Monica Rambeau either. I think she's cool. It's just I just can't stand Carol Danvers.
I think
I love comic book Carol Danvers, or as she used to be.
Well, she used to be. I think Monica was grossly miscast. I don't buy the MCU Monica at all.
See, I turned against her pretty quick when she was like, the whole "that's my truth" line. That that was the moment I'm like, okay, MCU is done.
I pretty much was like it didn't kill my love of her, but it definitely impacted it when she was like,
"You'll never know.
You'll never know. They'll never know how much you sacrificed for them." I'm like, I don't think they care.
It's like you held them captive for a year, tortured them, and kept them away from their children. They don't care that you're upset that your love toy got broken.
Yeah, your
Kitty was begging to be killed.
Yeah. Like, I don't think they care, Wanda. All right. Well, so comicbookmovie.com put out what they said was a leak of the plot for this. I don't buy it for a second, but I wanted to go through it anyway because I think it's interesting. All right, so according to Comic Book Movie, it said this movie will revolve around the final incursion with Earth 616 and a divergent X-Men universe. Think of it like how Daredevil Born Again is. Yeah, okay. It sounds like the intention is to pick up where X-Men Days of Future Past left off, with Deadpool and Wolverine thrown into the mix for good measure. That movie's heroes from the Void will be back as well, as will Monica Rambeau. It turns out her presence in the alternate reality we visited at the end of the Marvels is what draws the two worlds together. Both Earth 616 and this X-Men universe, Earth 10005, will believe that they're being invaded and that the only way to save their respective realities is to defeat and destroy the other. Avengers versus X-Men. Right here is where I call bullcrap. If this was Avengers versus X-Men, they should have called it Avengers versus X-Men, because that makes more money than a movie called Avengers Doomsday.
I think that they're scared of doing the versus thing.
Because of Batman versus Superman?
Yeah.
X versus Sever.
Yeah, X versus Sever. Yeah. Versus movies tend to not do well.
Okay. All right, so
Kramer versus Kramer.
Hulk versus Wolverine is on the table, as is the X-Men Brotherhood of Evil Mutants team up back on Earth 616. Captain Marvel will team up with Shang-Chi, the Hulk, and Wong to try and bring Monica home, while Ms. Marvel looks to assemble her own team of heroes. The Fantastic Four are reportedly still on their Earth when Avengers Doomsday begins. And Spider-Man doesn't want to get involved with what's happening, but he gets dragged into it and dons his symbiote costume in the process. Doctor Strange and Clea will be part of the Doctor Doom story. Victor Von Doom hates Kang and the TVA, blames them for what's happening in the MCU, leading a full-on multiversal war inside the organization during Avengers Doomsday's final act, with Loki as the MacGuffin. If you put all these names into an AI and said, write me an Avengers script for this, that's the script that it spits out.
Here's the thing, though. Marvel, without certain people actually steering the real ship, and by that I mean Favreau, Whedon, and the Russos, they are rudderless, and they're also one-trick ponies. Mm-hmm. This screams of everything and anything that Kevin Feige would do, because we are beating the nostalgia drum to death. They got nothing, so we got to wheel out all these Fox characters.
Well, and so now here's my question, and I think that, so we saw when MCU got their hands on Xavier, they put him in the yellow floaty chair. When they got their hands on Wolverine, they put him in the yellow and blue. Do you think we see Ian McKellen in the red and purple?
Oh no, that would be terrible.
It would be terrible, but I think
unless he's in a red and purple suit. But
I think they're going to try it.
You think we'll see Ian McKellen in the X-Men 97, like St. Andrew's Cross thing?
Oh God,
sexy Magneto.
Yes. Oh man,
he would look like a deflated Muscle Man suit.
I think that, well, in Gambit, where's the Gambit costume? Obviously, we saw that in Deadpool. I think you're going to get. I think you're at least going to get James Marsden wearing the blue Cyclops costume.
Mm-hmm.
Or some version of it, whether it's the one with the top or whether it's the 90s 90s version where his hair's out.
I don't understand why you just don't go back to the Earth from Doctor Strange with the Illuminati.
I don't know.
Clearly the Avengers, Fantastic Four, and X-Men were all working together in some capacity.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a more proper Marvel. You could easily say Xavier survived because it was a trick of the mind, blah, blah, blah. Wanda shouldn't be able to kill him anyway. Yeah, and you just kind of move on. This Earth is over here causing problems. We've got to take care of it. Because there's no reason. The
other main reason why I don't believe what this is saying is it sounds more like AVX and doesn't really have much to do with Doom. And the two storylines are so wildly divergent from each other. I can't imagine this is what they're doing.
Dude, well, they had no plan when they dumped Kang. You dumped Kang not even halfway into the story, and everything was absolutely 110% anchored to Kang. You made the dumb mistake of saying all Kangs are the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't expect much from Marvel. I think some of this stuff is true. Not all of it, but I think some of this stuff is true.
By the way, guys, we're going to get to your super chats in a minute. But I wanted to move to our next story real quick, just because we are running a little long tonight. So this is one I discovered today. Media claims The Acolyte was a massive success using misleading data. Leslie Headland's wife pounces to demand second season and shift blame. If you know, you know. So a strange thing is happening in Hollywood media. Months after Disney quietly canceled The Acolyte, the narrative around the show is being aggressively re-engineered using the misleading metric of demand. Now, entertainment outlets like Collider and Screen Rant have begun publishing articles claiming the series was a misunderstood success. At the same time, the Acolyte actress Rebecca Henderson, who also happens to be Leslie Headland's wife, has taken to Instagram claiming the show was a massive hit for Disney Plus and was canceled for reasons unrelated to performance, aka racism. Oh, stupid things. All right, so the centerpiece of the PR push is a February 2025 Parrot Analytics report that claims the Acolyte had 20.8 times the demand of the average U.S. television series. But a closer look reveals what this really is: a deliberate campaign to reframe a failed project. It's a last-ditch effort to rewrite the legacy of a series that underdelivered on nearly every front, financially, critically, and with audiences. So, what Parrot Analytics actually measures? Parrot Analytics does not track viewership. It does not report how many people streamed The Acolyte on Disney Plus, how many finished it, or how many paid subscriptions it generated. Instead, Parrot measures audience demand, a nebulous metric that includes Google searches, Wikipedia, YouTube views, social media mentions, piracy activity, and fan content engagement. In short, it measures how much a show is being talked about, not whether people are watching it or even enjoying it. It does not measure subscriber data, total watch time, completion rate, unique viewers, revenue impact, churn or acquisition value for platforms like Disney Plus. That would be data a company like Disney would then use to determine whether a show is a viable option for another season. Parrot's data is best understood as a proxy for interest, and that interest, this is important, can be positive, negative, or neutral. Parrot does not and cannot distinguish sentiment. So if The Acolyte is being widely criticized, discussed in YouTube breakdowns, trending on Reddit for controversial reasons, or reviewed in bulk even negatively, it would inflate its demand rating drastically. This system can be skewed by controversy. A show generating backlash, criticism, and constant debate can perform very well in Parrot's system, despite being a failure in every other respect that actually matters to Hollywood corporate bean counters. Now, we all know The Acolyte numbers, absolutely abysmal. It was terrible. Didn't come close to the top 10. But, of course, Leslie Headland's wife goes, The Acolyte has been a massive hit for Disney Plus. It was canceled because if you know, you know, but the fans love it, and we love you. Stop it.
From what Parrot measures, and from your article here, those are all things that could be bought by, you can just hire an army of bots to create all those metrics, every single one of them.
Yeah. Easily.
And the thing is, like, even if like you're analyzing like piracy and stuff, you know, like what the talk is about your product, the place that should be leading to theoretically is in the merchandise. And as we saw throughout the span of the show, the merchandise was rotting on the shelves at Ollie's. There's not a financial demand for this thing. There's people who want it back, but it's not enough paying customers. Like, I don't know what kind of void she's living in, but you can literally check the clearance bins. It's right there. The proof is there.
And we have known for over a decade that major companies do monitor piracy to see what people are watching. In fact, Netflix streaming, sometimes you'll just see crazy stuff on there. And part of that is just so that they can have a giant amount in the library, which is important for them. But another part is that they saw some obscure movie had insane piracy numbers, so they went and acquired it.
Well said.
It's insane, guys. It's absolutely insane. I cannot believe that the media ran with this. It's so deceptive. It's so It violates every journalistic bone in my body.
I hate to be that guy, but this is happening because they're losing. These are all
of course it is.
moves. These are all desperation moves. I don't think these guys have gotten a win in almost a year. They got to find it somewhere.
The Acolyte is the biggest loss that the woke crowd ever had. And so they are desperate to make it a success, no matter what. And they will lie and cheat and steal in order to make it so that you think that this show actually succeeded. And now, look, Leslie Headland has not said 2 words about the Acolyte since it ended, or since it's been canceled. She said nothing. Her wife will not shut up about it. We know, right, that's got to be Leslie Headland acting through her. Do you guys agree with that?
I think it's a bit of both, but because I'm sure they both are on the same wavelength for that. But definitely, I'm sure Leslie probably brings it up to her almost every week.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about a wife, that they'll go to bat for you even when you don't really like. If I've got problems at work, my wife will just kind of run with it. And like today, had a bad day, and she started talking about one of my coworkers. Like, you've actually never met this lady. But I'm glad you're in my corner. Really happy for that.
Good woman right there.
Yeah. But yeah, it's incredible that there is this, like, and people don't look further into it. Like, they don't do what I did and go to Parrot and figure out what exactly they measure. They're just like, oh, there's demand for another season of this of the Acolyte. It's demand it's such a misleading metric. I can't believe they're citing it.
But they do.
Too, it was probably some outrage marketing, an attempt to trigger some YouTubers to get them to talk about the Acolyte again.
There's that old perception that any publicity is good publicity, but that's a dictum from before Twitter existed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. So,
does anybody miss like the good old days of fan films where we just there were so many great ideas out there?
Yeah.
I mean, for Star Wars alone.
Yeah.
We think, but we'll never see another Batman dead end ever again.
Never in our lifetime.
Oh, we did just recently see that Batman Batman Beyond one that we all liked.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Great.
That was actually pretty cool. I like that.
But yeah, dead end.
You guys remember, speaking of fan films, do you guys remember like the super cheesy trailer for Star Wars The Force Awakens? Like before the film actually got the title of that, there was a fan film that was basically all the Jedi had gone away, and basically it was Star Wars, but in our modern day Earth. It was the cheesiest, dumbest thing on the planet, but it was so funny.
Yeah, a bunch of kids having fun.
Yeah, it was great.
Yep. Couple super chats before we get to our last story. John Williams from 999 says, yet they think Thanos being in love with death was ridiculous. Despite the fact that in the comics, Thanos wasn't actually meant to be in love with death. It was just a cope for his nihilism. Yep, I agree. I mean, why did you give Agatha Thanos' backstory of being in love with death? Like, it's ridiculous. John Williams also says 999 Nightcrawler. It's a reference to the OG plan when Destiny and Mystique were mothers. The comic made it overcomplicated. They should have just said Mystique just asked the demon dude to be a donor. Azazel, yeah. Whatever. Liquid Fox for $5 Canadian says, you guys should be ashamed. Someone died. It's not funny. Anyways, so that's what happens when you hang out with the Clintons too much. Okay, Liquid Fox, I see what you did. At first I was like, oh no, did we upset Liquid Fox? And then he came right around. Good.
One of us.
Yeah, that's the way you do it. Look, guys, I'm trying to remember the exact quote that Jim Norton said about comedy, but he was like, we have to laugh at these major things because it helps us all cope with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
God, I wish I could find that quote because it's a really good quote.
Well, I remember an older person telling me one time, sometimes you got to laugh or else you'll cry.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I can't find it.
I was looking for it too.
Yeah, well, Jim Norton has a lot of quotes out there. John Williams from 499 says what they should have done was looked over the handler's story. She never should have been hired. She also said when it occurred, "Oh God, my career is dead."
Oh, kind of like the Tiger King with "I will never financially recover from this."
I'll never financially recover from this. Well, no, he's just in jail. Liquid Fox for $2 Canadian says Littlefoot's mother still gets me. That was a rough one.
Oh yeah,
Mufasa got me as a kid. You know?
Mm-hmm.
John Williams says the book only shares the plot of Roger is accused of killing a man. Toons are second-class citizens. So,
oh yeah, for anybody who wants to check out the book, I think it's called "Who Censored Roger Rabbit," the original book in that series.
Ronan Bunny for $4.99 says, "Why am I getting Mario movie cast vibes from the Doomsday cast announcement?" Yeah, no, there were actual stars. Yeah, they were actual. Yeah, Chris Pratt and actual stars were in the Mario movie.
Luminous stars like Seth Rogen.
Yeah. All right, guys. Before we end tonight, and maybe for one of the last times, we got to talk about Snow White and Rachel Zegler. Yeah, it's been done to death, but we got
savor this moment, boys.
So Rachel Zegler, Snow White, had a disastrous box office. It brought in, so everyone thought it brought in 44 million. It turns out it brought in 42.2 million domestically. Global haul of 85.3 million, which is far below the 100 million goal benchmark that was initially floated. To put it bluntly, it is a bloodbath. Now, the media was in full spin mode. Variety was calling this the fairest of them all at the box office. Rachel Zegler's a delight. Oh, this is so great. It's so good. This is not a bad start. It's promising. That has shifted. First they were like, oh, well, you know what? It's doing great. It's doing better than Dumbo did. I'm like, is that your bar for excellence? The movie that made Tim Burton stop making movies? I don't know, guys. It hurts my head. So this puts it behind Dumbo. It puts it behind the Marvels. Way behind the Marvels, actually, like 50 million behind the Marvels. Underperformed even relative to Notorious Disasters. So, despite this, Rachel Zegler proudly touted Snow White's box office in a tone-deaf victory lap on Instagram, where she was like, #1 movie in the world, disables comments.
We're number one. We're number one, not number two.
So Rachel Zegler was flying high, right? She's on top of the world. She's super happy. She's like the queen of the box office this weekend, even though the box office is, the castle for the queen is a ramshackle hovel. Well, that all ended yesterday when Variety threw Rachel Zegler under the bus for Snow White failure in a wild about-face hit piece. I mean, guys, this was nuts. In a surprising shift from its previously glowing coverage, Variety published a damning report outlining internal tensions surrounding Rachel Zegler's behavior during the promotion of Snow White. The article, which dropped just days after the film's underwhelming box office opening, paints Zegler as a defiant and politically reckless liability, laying out a timeline of clashes with Disney executives, promotional controversies, and a studio intervention. But while Zegler's missteps are well documented, the sudden shift in tone raises a key question. Is Variety's new tone simply journalistic accountability, or is Disney quietly repositioning the narrative? AKA, did Bob Iger see the discourse and say, well, they're not going to blame me for this. They already hate this girl, so let's get her. The article details Zegler's now infamous Free Palestine social media post, published just minutes after she celebrated the film's trailer performance in August 2024, responding specifically to that trailer. According to the report, Disney executives were blindsided by the political statement, which was unrelated to the film and quickly drew viral attention. Variety also states that producer Mark Platt personally flew to New York to ask Zegler to remove the post. She refused. Behind the scenes, Variety also confirms that Gal Gadot, who is Israeli, received threats severe enough that Disney was forced to hire private security for her and her 4 children. Remember, Rachel Zegler refused to take this down. While Zegler was not directly responsible for the threats, the article makes clear that her refusal to remove the post was seen by the studio as reckless and damaging to a mother of 4 children. The report goes on to document further friction between Zegler and the company, from her criticism of the 1937 Snow White to her controversial post following the presidential election. The pattern painted is one of a star who regularly challenged studio leadership and refused to course correct even when asked. Disney ultimately assigned a social media handler to Zegler in the lead up to the release, a detail confirmed by Variety sources. Yet, as some observers have noted, many of these incidents are not new. Zegler's commentary about the original Snow White and her remarks about the films have been public knowledge since 2022. So why is all this surfacing now? Variety notes that Disney declined to comment on the article, industry veterans will recognize the pattern. While major projects underperform, blame is often quietly redistributed, and studio-friendly trade outlets often become conduits for reputational cleanup. Guys, is Disney behind this smear job on Rachel Zegler? I mean, that's not really a smear job. It's she did all the things that they're saying. But
oh, hell yeah.
This is Bob, right? This is Big Bob being like, execute Order 66.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. He woke up, saw that box office, was like, you know what? Well, here, I'll put this. Disney doesn't have to comment because Disney wrote the story. So
exactly.
You know, at the end of the day. But listen, although I feel bad for her because she's the Oswald in this story, she's the Patsy. She also made it really easy for them to do this to her. She is as obnoxious as they come. So this is just Bob going, this is easy. He pushed the easy button, and this is going to let her take all the bullets and go on about his life.
He woke up in the morning and said, that was his war cry for the day. It is grossly hold on. It's definitely Disney. It has to be. I mean, especially because it came from Variety, which is a Disney mouthpiece. It's a Disney puppet outlet. It's one of the Hollywood trades. So here's the thing: one of the stories from the Variety was confirmed just hours later. So the producer's son confirmed the Zegler controversy and accused her of narcissism in a social media takedown. So, of course, this is the story that Mark Platt of Disney had to fly to New York to confront her over her Palestine post, to be like, hey, your co-star is getting threats. You used our movie to parade this message. Take this down. And she refused. So Jonah Platt, his son, was confronted on Twitter by, to put it bluntly, a PC baby went after Jonah and goes, your dad flew to New York City to reprimand a young actress. Any words on this? Because that's creepy as hell and uncalled for. People have the right to free speech. No? Shame on your father.
Shut up.
And I'd like to start here. It's inappropriate to ask a son either way about what his dad is doing. First of all, he should stand with his father, at the very least, just say, not my business. But he did the good son thing here.
Oh, yeah. Well, he eventually deleted this comment. However, I will say,
his dad probably asked him to.
Yeah. So he goes, no, when his dad asked him to delete a post, he deleted it. Jonah Platt goes, I love the way he starts this. You really want to do this? Yeah, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which she signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability, and her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. Free speech does not mean you're allowed to say whatever you want in your private employment without repercussions. Tens of thousands of people worked on that film, and she hijacked the conversation for her own immature desires at the risk of all the colleagues and crew and blue-collar workers who depend on that movie to be successful. Narcissism is not something to be encouraged. Is not something to be coddled or encouraged.
Who would have thought Kevin Samuels wrote that?
Jonah Platt, you're my new hero, buddy, because, man, that was epic. That was epic. You stood up for your family like a man, and, you know, well done.
And that was the chatter amongst the, you know, the modern feminist. You know, they were rallying to make her the victim in all this, and not today.
Nope. And you know, people are still trying. You know, we get the Rachel Zegler apologists on X. I'm sure some of them are bots, but so here's the thing: if Disney did leak this story, they might. It helps Bob Iger, sure, but you know who helps? It helps way more than Bob Iger. Gina Carano, because what Disney has done is it has exposed the way it handled the Rachel Zegler politically divisive, you know, social media post situation, and it is in sharp contrast to how they handled the Gina Carano situation. Rachel Zegler got a social media handler. Gina Carano got fired.
So, if I'm playing on Disney's side here, I will say maybe they learned from the Gina Carano situation and handled it differently.
Well, it's possible, but they were dealing with situations like this back then too, and you can draw causality to, or you could draw, you know, some common ground between the way they handled Pedro Pascal and Mark Ruffalo and the way they're handling Rachel Zegler. It's the same thing. They haven't changed anything. The only difference was Gina Carano.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, the Pedro Pascal stuff was definitely same time and showed the bias.
Yeah, it was, you know, obviously, you know, with Gina, it was just wildly inappropriate what they did, because they dragged her name in through the mud afterward. And one of the big bullies that participated in that big bullying campaign against Gina Carano was Rachel Zegler. We remember that. You know, she was one of the chief voices going after her. She went after Jeremy Renner, and then now she wants to preach kindness. So Gina Carano, I think her lawyers, if I'm her lawyers, I'm rubbing my hands together. I'm subpoenaing the receipts that they had to pay for security for Gal Gadot and her family. Because if that's the case, they could be like, look, this lady endangered a coworker and refused to back down. Like that's abhorrent. They can't and she didn't get released from this, and Gina Carano did. It's ridiculous.
I guess, I think the only thing that Disney probably may try is they'll say, well, that was Lucasfilm, and this is a Disney Studios joint, and it's different leadership.
I still think their safest play is to say, well, we learned lessons along the way.
Yeah.
Then again, if we look way back in Hollywood history, there was the studio system. Personally, I think under the studio system, Zegler would have been a solid B-movie actress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she's not going to bring in major people, but she would have been the sort of person, if handled correctly by the studio, would have been entirely serviceable in fluff musicals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, listen, and that's the other thing too. Listen, Rachel Zegler is a product of what Disney put in front of her. You could use. She's no different than Kathleen Kennedy, and by that I mean they keep hiring people who do not like the IPs that they're associated with. The people who wrote her talking points for D23 clearly did not like Snow White, and that is we know that these guys always learn the wrong lesson, so we know eventually they're going to start saying, well, Snow White bombed because it's antiquated, blah 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 blah. Never mind that we've seen Snow White movies that riffed on the premise, like what was the Drew Barrymore one? I can't think of it now. Was it Ever After or something like that? Where essentially it's Snow White and the prince saves her, and then she saves the prince. Even the terrible Kristen Stewart ones.
I thought that one was Cinderella, though.
Oh, was it Cinderella? I thought it was Snow White. So like we've seen films riff on this story, and those films have done well. even when they weren't fantastic films, like the first Kristen Stewart Snow White movie. So the problem is you just hire people who don't like these IPs, have a very certain mindset, and then you're shocked when your young starlet who has been emboldened goes crazy and starts burning the town down. Should someone in her life have been like, hey kid, you haven't earned your stripes, you need to slow your roll. But this is Hollywood. We've seen that Hollywood loves to watch a young starlet go down in flames.
Oh yeah. No, they were right about like the comparisons to Britney and Lindsay Lohan. It's their issues were, chemical and addiction. I think Rachel Zegler is addicted to Rachel Zegler. So, that's the problem.
You mean the maniacal laughter in the empty movie theater as she watched her name on the screen?
Oh, she cheered for herself in the empty movie theater. My God.
She did that?
Yeah.
It's like, sorry,
she saw her name pop up on the screen. She cheered, maniacally laughed.
Yeah.
And the theater is empty.
God.
The theater is empty. So either it's a showing that no one bought tickets to, or Rachel Zegler refuses to rub elbows with the commoners, and so either way, it looks bad for her that she's in an empty theater.
And Nolan, the laugh was maniacal.
Yeah.
I need to look
I don't
this
think she
up
can
after
laugh
the
any
show.
other way.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
I don't think she can laugh any other way. I think she has one laugh, I think that Rachel Zegler has one laugh, and it's this.
Because I'm Flint Hardcore, I'm gone, and I always will be.
Because I'm Rachel Zegler, and I always will be. Weird.
Oh man, I'm gonna miss her when she's gone.
So is the Rachel laugh like a cackle, like a Hillary cackle, or is it? Where are we on that?
It wasn't a War of the Worlds ack.
Oh my God! All right, guys, I am friggin' exhausted. We covered a lot of ground here tonight. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you to everyone who chatted, everyone who super chatted. You were all very much appreciated. Big thanks to Lauren, to Hangry, to Trish. Trish will hopefully have her tech issues worked out for next week, and she'll be back on, and I'll try to make it a Trish heavy show. So Nolan Thunder, tell the fine folks where they can find out more about you and what you're up to.
Well, I'm up to working on these Sour Patch Kids, I'll tell you that. But now, if you want to see my content, you can find me over at Nolan Thunder. I talk about lost media mysteries, internet mysteries, and all kinds of mysteries, primarily with video games. On my series, Lost in the Files, it's a mini documentary series that has a mix of comedy, horror, B-movie horror, and like all the fun lore that you'd hear behind a lot of these urban mysteries that come from the arcade. So if that's something that interests you, please check out my series. I've been working on an episode here for the past 8 months, and my God, it's going to come out. It's going to be fun. I promise you that. And this beautiful gentleman up here will be voicing a spot in it. So be on the lookout for that.
Awesome. Martin
And this
Stone.
one is too, actually. Wow. Oh my gosh. You don't want to see it, people. It's going to be fun.
It's a family affair.
Yes.
Martin Stone, tell the fine folks where they can find out more about you and everything you're up to.
Well, I'm one of the Lost Guys with Nolan Thunder, Trish, and Hangry Table. And we do a show for That Park Place. It's members exclusive for some period of time. Tomorrow, we have one that releases. It is Cool as Ice, the classic remake of The Wild Bunch, starring Vanilla Ice.
My favorite episode. I love that episode.
Fantastic. Kevin Apollo.
Today, an older episode released for free on T3PO. And I thought this one was Nolan's favorite episode, The Mandela Effect.
It's one of my favorites. One of them. I've already listened to a good chunk of it. I'm going to be finishing it. And we'll have a link out in the chat too for you. I don't have my normal Trish link, but if one of you guys could please add this to the chat, check us out on T3PO. We'd greatly appreciate it.
Awesome.
The chat wants you guys to do Highlander too.
You know, that one keeps coming up, and it is on the list.
How is that lost media, though? You can very easily find it.
We're kind of loose in that definition. Sometimes we do crazy stuff, like we did Reebok pump sneakers. And we've done, I convinced them to read a Nero Wolfe novel because I like them. But yeah, if the people want Highlander 2, then we'll give you Highlander 2.
Ooh.
The lost media is the main draw, but it's a lot of stuff that's mainly forgotten about, and we have a bit of variety. So that interests you. Please check it out.
And we can talk about the craziness with all the different cuts of Highlander too.
You need to. You do need to do Big Bad Beetleborgs or Superhuman Samurai Cyber Squad, because that's you can't find that anywhere.
Yeah, actually, we Nolan can verify this. I just published the list in a folder that we have, a shared folder we have together, and you're on the list as a possible guest for Superhuman Cyber Squad.
I am?
Yes, you are.
Oh, I would love to.
And you're definitely joining us for Turbo.
For Turbo Power Rangers movie?
Yes. Yeah, when we do that,
we're gonna discuss the 3-hour cut.
Yes. Absolutely.
And Kevin has
wouldn't be any other way. We're talking about stuff that's forgotten, brother. We're going to talk about that lore.
Kevin has expressed interest in several topics we've talked about, like for instance, canon films.
Oh, that's gonna be such a good episode! I'm so excited. I want to talk about the He-Man movie.
I ran out and started gobbling up canon film sets, and I'm like, I don't want this. I don't need 4 copies of Ninja 3 or Invasion USA.
Have you seen The Apple?
No, I haven't.
It was a musical they made. It takes place in the distant future of 1994.
I gotta write that down so I don't forget. I have a lost one for you guys. I don't know if it's gonna be
all right, guys.
I gotta finish it. I'm finishing it. There was a Knight Rider spinoff called Code of Vengeance.
Never even heard of it.
And then so they do a pilot and then they do a second pilot and totally reboot the premise of the character as you saw him in Knight Rider.
All right.
All right.
Vengeance.
Kevin Apollo, anything to plug this week?
No, I'll just be around.
You're around here. You're around on the WW Pro channel. So, you're pretty much at. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Mystic Knights of Tirnanog.
Oh.
The show that Haim Saban clearly did not know was being made. Shot on location. Shot on location in Ireland with original fight scenes and CGI. Like,
there was a debit from my account. What happened?
Who's spending me money? Oh my god. All right, so guys, make sure you keep it here to the channel. More videos coming your way, more member content, early access to members. Members stream on Monday around 3 p.m. I'm also obviously on the Pro channel. I'm on That Park Place. I'm on Mr. H Reviews with the HCast on Thursdays. So yeah, guys, I'm pretty much everywhere, all over the place. Check out Tooney Talk Wrestling on Tuesday nights as well. All right, well, that does it for us here on the show. For all of us here at the Tooney Town channels, I'm Marvin the Movie Monster. I get out of here.
Now, bury the platypus. Feel the wrath of my thank you-inator.
Thank you, you piece of trash.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you!
Oh, I suppose you want me to say thank you. Well, you know what? Saying thank you is like jobbing. Thank you!
I got a little message. Thank you. Ooh, yeah.
Oh, thank you! Oh, thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you! Thank you!
Thanks for what? Hi-ho from all of us here at Tooney Town. Thank you.
And viewers like you. Thank you.